Good morning, Raptor Freaks. Lexi Outs here. It is Friday. Raptors 905 beat the Indiana Mad Ants, and the Raptors lost to the Phoenix Suns. Not a bad game last night, though. I mean, I think a lot of us were very happy with the effort by the Raptors. They battled right up until the end. The margin was respectable. We only lost by 7. And, the way it started, it looked like they're going to blow us out. We couldn't find Grayson Allen. And Grayson Allen went crazy in the first quarter. Well, thank God that didn't continue for the rest of the game. And the Raptors did respectable things to show up. In some ways, I was worried we were going to just get outclassed, out-talented, outplayed like the Pelicans on Tuesday. But no, there wasn't a repeat of that. Things were a lot better. So I'm really happy with what happened with the Raptors yesterday. So it wasn't bad at all. Yeah, we'll do the stars of the game and all the rest of the stuff. There's also a 9:05 game today, the second game of a back-to-back with the Mad Ants at 7:30 tonight also. I'll have your refs. Let me do that real quick right now. The referees for tonight's 9:05 game with the Indiana Mad Ants, Danica Mosier is the crew chief, Chelsea Painter, and Sarah Williams. So we are getting the all-female crew. Is the women's empowerment game tonight with a female announced crew and female refs. We're celebrating women tonight at Mississauga. So tune in and watch the game. Danica, of course, is in her third season as a ref out of Freeport, Florida. She's one of the bubble refs, one of the people they hired during the Orlando stuff. Her favorite TV show is Friends. She likes the movie Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. She listens to Justin Timberlake. Her favorite book is Lying with Strangers. Her favorite meal is oxtail. Her favorite app is Yelp. She most like to visit Thailand, and her bucket list is to own a cat cafe. Yeah, she has a degree in biology and also nursing, just so y'all know. Danica Mosier is the crew chief for the 905. I don't have any splits on her numbers with how often they win when she's reffing or not. But there's your crew chief. Danica and Chelsea and Sarah are the refs. Yeah, good stuff. Good stuff. Yeah, the 905 looked good last night. We'll start with them real quick. They had a lot of dunks. They were playing above the rim. They had not played in a little while. They had like over a week off. Well, they were itching to get back out there. You could tell 905 doing all kinds of fun stuff. Omari Moore in particular. Mohamedou Gueye with an amazing, crazy long arm dunk from the side. Lots of good stuff in that game last night. Kobe Simmons was electric. In fact, he's my number one star of the game for the 905 game yesterday. Kobe Simmons was on fire. Usually he's high volume, low efficiency, but he was efficient last night. He was 9 of 15 from the field, 3 of 5 from 3, 2 of 2 at the free throw line, 3 rebounds, 12 assists, 1 steal, and 25 points. So 25 and 12, a double-double for Kobe Simmons, leading the 905 in a victory last night against the Mad Ants. The Mad Ants are no slouch either. They're one of the top teams in the Eastern Conference right now, and the Raptors are in the bottom 3. So Raptors 905 going above and beyond, beating a top 5 team, being a bottom 5 team. So good job. Good job. My second star of the game for the 905 game is Omari Moore. As I said, he had a couple of dunks. One early in the game that was, oh my gosh. Like seriously, it was entertaining just to see the highlight dunks in this 905 game last night. Plus, the game was close. The 905 stayed ahead of them for pretty much the whole game and stayed on top of them right up until the end. I mean, they only beat them by 6 points. So it was a close game all the way through. Sometimes, like most of the time, the 905 were leading, but only by like 1 or 2 points. So it was a very, very high stakes game. Omari Moore, 17 points in 37 minutes, 8 of 12, 8 of 12 shooting, 6 rebounds, 3 assists, and a block. A plus 14. Yeah, Omari was awesome. My third star of the game is the new guy, Jamias Ramsey. Ramsey came in. He fit in real nice right away. He kind of stat stuff. 16 points for Ramsey in 36 minutes, 6 of 16 shooting, 2 of 7 from 3. He made his only free throw, 9 rebounds, 5 assists, 1 steal, 1 block. Yeah, not a bad debut for Ramsey. He said after the game, he's barely played with these guys at all. I think he's been around them for like less than 2 days. And honestly, he took to them really well. Eric Curry said after the game that Jamias Ramsey knew the playbook better than some of the guys who've been on the team all year. instantly as soon as he came in. He was like, he took to our plays, and in some ways, he knows them better than the guys who've been here all year. That's what he said about Ramsey. I like that. I like that. The fourth star of the game for me is Justice Winslow. Justice wasn't that efficient, but he was out there bruising and doing what he does. 20 points in 24 minutes, 8 of 20 shooting. He missed all 5 of his 3 attempts, 3 of 4 at the free throw line, 8 rebounds, 2 assists. He did have 5 turnovers, but the production was out there. The strength, the working hard, the muscling down low, all that kind of stuff is important. And Justice Winslow provides it. And thank you. Thank you, Justice. Thank you. Yeah, there's a bit of shit talking too in that game, and Justice was involved. The fifth star, last star of the game for me is Makur. He actually had a really solid game. Makur this season has kind of been left in the shadows. There's been other 905 guys that have absolutely stepped up, like JFL and Mohamedou. But Makur, in some ways, he didn't progress this year. He was way better last year on Capital City Go-Go. And I'm a little disappointed in him. But last night, he showed signs of breaking out of it. Almost a double-double, 9 points, 10 rebounds, 4 of 9 from the field. He missed all 3 of his three-point attempts, 3 assists, 1 steal. No blocks, though. I don't get it. Makur, you should be making blocks. You know, that it just seems like that should be normal. So, yeah, 905, not bad. The other side of things, they had a couple of players that were interesting. Alfred Payton plays for them. It's always funny to see him in the G League. A double-double for Bell. He used to play for the Raptors. 15 rebounds, 12 points. The Mangus kid was shooting a little bit good last night, too. Yeah, they're an interesting team. And then Isaiah Wong off the bench with 19 points. They're a good G League team. So this is a good test for the 905 and a good victory for sure. Other guys to note, Mogi actually got hurt in this game and only played in the first half. So unfortunately, he didn't get a full stat line. He might have been one of my stars. Otherwise, he only had 6 points in 18 minutes with 6 rebounds, 2 assists, and a steal. And then guys off the bench of note, otherwise, Kevin O'Banner, 6 points, Daryl Morsell, 9, Drake Jeffries, 2 points, and Miles Burns, 3 points off the bench. So that's the whole 905 game right there. Yeah, good stuff. The thing is that the 905 have been playing close games to the end of the game, and they've been handling them pretty well with managing it and staying on top. There's close games earlier in the season that they absolutely let fall through their fingers, and they lost. Well, they're not doing that right now. In some ways, they're showing that kind of development over the season with Coach Eric Curry and that core, that they have figured out how to win more games when they're close right at the end than lose them. And that is great. That's showing a development of a learning curve of how to win close games. So you go 905. You're finally winning them instead of losing them pathetically at the end in stupid ways like missed free throws or turnovers or just not making the shot, not converting. But y'all did it. Y'all did a good job last night. In some ways, it was hard for me to watch the end of the game because it coincided with the beginning of the Raptors game. And it was actually a very dramatic ending. But right at the same time, the Raptors were playing already in the first quarter, and Grayson Allen was killing us already. All right, let me check in with the chat with you guys. First thing, and we'll do the Raptors game too. I just want to get all the 905 stuff out of the way, just so I don't, because we could overlook it. I know y'all want to talk about the Raptors, so I'll get the 905 stuff out of the way. Just did it. Boom. There you go. Chris is in first. Loss as a size was an issue. They rebounded better. That's about it, but expected. No, you know what? I really thought they had a chance to win last night. In some ways, the Suns were lackadaisical. In some ways, the Suns show you exactly why, like, they're susceptible and why they've lost way more games this year than they probably should have. Because in some ways, they're not acting professional. That team is lazy. And in some ways, they coast on the talent of Kevin Durant, Bradley Beal, and Devin Booker. And when these guys are not, like, totally on it, in some ways, Booker's the eye of the tiger for them. Booker's the one who really gets pissed and gets crazy in his game. Kevin's gotten too old. I don't understand Kevin Durant at this point. In some ways, he's just like a show. He's like, all right, let's come and see Kevin because, like, he's one of the greatest ever. You get to see him, but it's not like Kevin of OKC. It's not like Kevin of Golden State. It's in some ways Kevin of Brooklyn is more like Kevin of Phoenix. This guy who's really okay with rolling over and losing games all the time. Like, if we had our shit together a little bit better, if we were a little bit more connected, If we had maybe either Scotty or Jakob, we would have beat their ass last night. Seriously. If we had just had one of those guys, either Pirtle or Scotty Barnes, the Suns would have lost last night, and we would have swept the season with them. We did a really good job with Nurkic. Nurkic broke the Phoenix Suns franchise record for rebounds this week, 31. And, well, we kept him on the boards. We did a really good job. Kelly Olynyk is a badass. I just got to say this right now. In some ways, having Kelly Olynyk on our team is like the equivalent of having the Hanson brothers from Slapshot on our team. This guy is the embodiment in basketball of the Hanson brothers. And honestly, he just needs some glasses to come out there. We might as well put the glasses on him and RJ, and they can be the Hanson brothers, the Canadian content, because those dudes play like that. In some ways, they're so physical, they're so gutsy. You know, some of the stuff Kelly was doing last night just spoke to my heart. As a basketball guy who loves, like, in some ways, I hated seeing it against me when he's on other teams like Miami and Boston. But seeing Kelly do it for us on Toronto, Canada, it really warms my heart. You know, every like overemphasized flop, every kind of like crazy ass play, like that one play where he stripped the ball of Kevin Durant when he wasn't looking, that was awesome. It's just so nice to have such a brilliant player that's really not super athletically talented, but he's so scrappy and his game is so awkward in some ways. But yeah, Nurkic only got 14 rebounds. And in some ways, he had most of them in the first half. We did a way better job in the second half of boxing him out and gang rebounding out there. Although we did get killed on the rebounds overall in this game last night. They had double the rebounds at halftime. In the end, it was 49-36. So we lost the rebound battle by like 14. Is that right? Let's see. 4 + 9, 13. 13 rebounds more than us. So, I mean, they could have killed us much worse with the powerful Nurkic. The powerful Nurkic. They could have killed us much worse on the boards. In some ways, you see that their team is weird. It's not complete like the Pelicans. The Pelicans have a complete team. The Suns don't. The Suns got some very talented shooters, top-level guys, and that rest of the team, like I said, it's filler. There's not a very good bench. Most of the guys on that team are not going to do crazy things for them. So it's very interesting, very interesting. That game we could have won if we had Scotty or Jakob. I truly believe that. Either one of them, and only one of them. We didn't need both of them. I don't think we needed both of them. All right, let's see. Trevor J's in first. Commissioner of Fun, Trevor J, has sent me another package. It came in the mail this morning, and I went out there and got it. And guess what? It's another cosmic card box. So I have 2 of them now. So you know what? On that note, since we've got 2 of them, I'm going to take the old ones and open it up and get a cosmic card for the day. Trevor J, Commissioner of Fun, has commissioned a cosmic card of the day. Let's see what it is for today. Let's see. It's a random old school basketball card. It's just going to be the card of the day to set the theme and the feelings. Let's see if we get a Raptor or something. That'd be awesome. Who do we get today? Oh, now sometimes these cards are just kind of like lame, but this is interesting. We've got a former Raptor today, Mark Jackson. Mark Jackson, the former player of St. John's, former New York Knicks, former Raptor. He's in this Clippers era. Mark Jackson on the Clippers. Now, this is interesting. Yeah, okay. This is a nice card, actually. It's kind of old. Topps Stadium Club. Not sure what year it is. But yeah, Mark Jackson, former Raptor, in a Clippers jersey. That's our card for today. Topps Mark Jackson. Mark Jackson, of course, has some stories with the Raptors from playing with us. I believe that Alvin has brought him up on the broadcast recently about him being joking around with there was a story about Dell Curry where they were talking about how Dell had this suit he was going to wear, and they were making fun of it because it looked really crazy. And they took pictures of it on the ground or something, and Oakley and Alvin Williams and Mark Jackson and them were making fun of Dell Curry. There's some sort of story like that. I don't know. You probably heard it too on the broadcast. Yeah, making fun of Dell for his clothes. All right, Trevor saying, good morning, Raptors family. Second half defense and offense was on point. IQ playmaking was nice. We hit more threes on them, 16-15. That's actually pretty amazing that we did that, considering how Grayson Allen was so hot in the beginning of the game, and he looked like he was going to break some 3-point records earlier in the game. That first quarter was insane. He came out there and he hit like 7 threes right in the first quarter, and he only hit one more for the rest of the game. Thank God, because honestly, he had 21 points at the end of the first, and it was like, somebody get that guy. Like, is anyone gonna go guard Grayson Allen? It's like he's such a punchable person. First of all, he's like dirty. He has that kind of smirky face where he's like, he's really annoyed us on the Bucks in the past. He's just somebody that you just don't like in general, unless he's on your team. And yeah, he was annoying. And I was like, well, somebody's got to go guard him. Somebody has got to go get him. And finally, we did find him, and he wasn't as much of a factor. Yeah. Yeah. Bradley Beal, exactly what I thought. Let him shoot. Just let him shoot. Who cares? We want Bradley Beal to shoot. You shoot as much as you want, Bradley Beal, because, you shot 8 of 16. That's 50%. But still, it's like Bradley is not somebody I fear like I used to. Bradley is, I don't know. I mean, how long have you been in this league, Bradley Beal, that in the first quarter of the game, you stepped out of bounds? If you're a vet in this league, you should know the dimensions of the court. Whenever I see a vet of over 10 years or like 12 years in this league step out of bounds while they're making their move to go to the basket, I don't take them seriously. In some ways, you need to know your court. You need to know everything like the back of your hand. You need to know the dimensions. And a vet stepping out of bounds when they're making their move to go up against somebody, it's pathetic. Bradley Beal, how long have you played in this league? Step out of bounds, turnover? Oh my gosh, dude. Maybe it was Olynyk pushing against you and he made you go out. I don't know. He was doing that. He was doing that last night. You see Kelly push guys out of bounds all of a sudden. He did one so egregiously under their basket at one point. It was hilarious. He just like pushed the guy out. Man, and then that play when they didn't call the three on the 3-point foul on Gary Trent. That was so egregious right in front of you, Evan Scott. What the fuck is wrong with you, Evan Scott? You can't see this guy come flying by and hit Gary Trent's arm on a 3-pointer. He should have been on the line for 3 points. Instead, y'all had some crazy ass take foul because Kelly Olynyk body checked. I don't remember, as Royce O'Neal or one of them checked the hell out of them, and rightfully so. Yeah, the refs were absolutely horrible last night. This was the second worst ref game this season for the Raptors after the Lakers game that they totally railroaded. This game wasn't totally railroaded. We had our chances to win, but the calls were egregiously bad. Very, very bad. It was very apparent that Sean Wright and Justin Van Dyne and Evan Scott were calling everything very one-sided. We saw a lot of weird calls on one side, touch calls where people weren't even touching people, like that one Chris Boucher with that alley-oop, the dunk. He didn't touch that man. That man flubbed that dunk on his own. Nurkic messed that dunk up on his own. Chris Boucher did not touch him. But here's the thing. From the play earlier in the game where Chris was on the floor with the ball and he was tied up, they called a timeout at that point, and it ate up a timeout that definitely Darko didn't want to use exactly, but they wanted to hold possession, so it was the right call. But that was a domino effect to when that call on Chris came with Nurkic on the dunk, and he was nowhere near him. Darko should have called the challenge there because he would have won it, but he didn't. And the reason why he didn't call it was he didn't want to risk losing his very last timeout with 5 minutes to go. Even if it was a slam dunk, gonna win challenge, we can't trust those refs not to make up some bullshit reason why they say it's an unsuccessful challenge and timeout loss for the Raptors. So he couldn't even take that chance on that play that was obviously a very challengeable play because you just can't chance losing your last timeout with 5.5 to go. It really does kind of suck. And they really are the chicken. They led to each other. Chris on the floor having to call timeout because he tied up the ball on that floor. That took away the timeout that could have been called for the challenge. And that's too bad. In some ways, there were a lot of egregiously bad calls, and we weren't totally on it with things like calling them out. In fact, they were doing shady shit Like Sean Wright and Justin Van Dyne were speeding the game up at times where questionable shit happened so that nobody could get time to kind of look at it and say, oh, we want to look at this. We want to challenge this. No, they were speeding shit up on purpose and not giving us time to get our bench to look at the film to say whether we should call a challenge. It was very seedy. In some ways, I lost a lot of respect for Sean Wright last night. That I can see where he is doing NBA bidding for different things like this. Now, I'll say this. They don't want the Raptors to beat the Suns because the Suns have looked bad this year. The Suns had been destroyed by the Spurs early in the season, absolutely destroyed by Wemby when they were not beating anybody. Well, they could beat the Suns. The Spurs could. And they've lost a lot of games they probably shouldn't have lost because they're lazy, like I said. It's a similar thing. LeBron and the Lakers, the Suns and Kevin, they are lazy teams. And the NBA and the referees prop them up and help them. And we saw it again last night. In some ways, I don't have any hate against the Suns, but when the refs are so egregiously one-sided, it was one end of the court, touch fouls were going on. The other end of the court, people are getting mugged, hit to the ground, and nothing's getting called. That slap across Gary Trent's arm is the perfect example of like, that is so blatantly a foul, but y'all are just sitting there like doing nothing. Yeah, y'all are fuckers. Y'all didn't cover up your bad reffing last night well enough to not show the favoritism. It was out in the open once again last night, just like it was in that Lakers game when the Raptors went to LA and played the Lakers in that game. Y'all did some fucked up shit and you didn't cover up the evidence very well. Is right in front of us. We could see how one-sided you called this game. Everything at one court, at one end, and nothing at the other. We saw it. We saw it. Yeah, you can't hide that. You can't hide that. Trevor's saying referees were very biased last night. They called 20 fouls on us and 16 for them. It's not even about the fouls. It's crazy shit. Like, all right, Chris gets the ball and he's going back up for the second chance, and they say side out. Chris is lining up at the free throw line to take free throws. And meanwhile, they've just decided this is a way we'll screw the Raptors over real quick like this. We're going to make them side out, even though it's obvious he should have gotten 2 free throws. And how were the Suns so miraculously in the bonus at a certain point in the fourth quarter when, honestly, people were not calling fouls hardly at all during this game? Well, that shows the fucking bias that, in some ways they'll railroad it and get it to a point where, if Kevin's in trouble and they're not making shots, well, they'll just call fouls at the end to give them extra points to keep the margin up so they're ahead. I mean, that's what it is. That's the secret with the refs. Get one team in the bonus, like in the penalty first, because the other team, a bunch of trumped up calls on them. Boom, you can put them on the line and continue to feed them points to give them the higher margin above. And they did that a little bit. They gave Kevin one bailout foul call and put him on the line near the end. But they do that on purpose. We're nowhere near the bonus for ourselves and getting to line. So, yeah, very, very biased refereeing last night. Absolutely biased refereeing. Very, very bad. Evan Scott, you're acting like you're stupid, man. You're explaining stuff to people, and I know you're just bullshitting them. Justin Van Dyne, whatever you said to Gary Trent about the hitting across the arm is probably the flakiest fucking excuse for why you didn't fucking call it. I'm sure it was something like this. Well, Gary, he didn't hit you before you shot the shot, and he didn't hit you on the hand. He hit you on the arm, so we can't call it. It's probably some stupid shit like that they explained to them about why they wouldn't call such an egregiously, that's the thing. It's a 3-point free throws. That's 3 points in a close game. It's a swing, and all of a sudden they're getting a take foul the other way. That's a big swing of points, like Matt Devlin said in the broadcast. And it's very manipulative. Very, very manipulative. Very, very biased. That's right. Trevor's saying Nets lost. Dennis scored 31 points, and the Nuggets beat the Celtics. Yeah, a little around the NBA. Yeah, the Nets lost, and Dennis had a big game. 31 points, Schroeder. Yeah, he's carrying that team. In some ways, he's that leader for them right now. Yeah, and the Celtics have lost 2 in a row. The Nuggets taking care of business, kicking their ass last night. You go, Nuggets. Yeah, keep losing, Celtics. Keep losing. Yeah, Chris is saying happy the Nuggets beat the Celtics. Happy IQ, RJ, and Gary did well. You could also see that starting bench players in the NBA just doesn't work. Dick was 40% from 3, but the return of Boucher was nice. Yeah, all right, let me break this down. I can start doing my 5 stars. I do want to say something here. Everybody, like, listen, starting bench players doesn't work. I don't know how that makes sense, Chris. You're gonna have to start different people in different situations, no matter what. I don't know. Oshai, he's may not be a starter in this league, but I thought he gotten starts in Utah already before. I don't know. It's just a weird comment. Anybody can be a starter on any given night, so it's really hard to kind of delineate, what you're saying with that. Like they're not bench players if they start. And everybody's gonna come out there if they get starters minutes. Well, we'll see what happens. Oshai was looking a little hurt still last night, honestly, and not as productive as he's been other times. So that's too bad. I mean, he only got 3 points on 1 of 6 shooting. Yeah, he did other stuff though. He was out there rebounding pretty strong and getting the loose balls. I have to give him credit for that too. He was very active and getting after it. That may be the best thing that Oshai did. But my stars of the game, let's start up with them. I'm going to give 5 stars to the Raptors today, even though they lost, because I feel like the effort was really good all around. They fought with them, and they deserve 5 stars. My number 1 star is I'm once again on the apologizing tour with Gary Trent Jr. I'm giving him the number 1 star, even though I could easily give it to Quickly for sure. But no, I like what Gary did. He got the 30 last night, and I would have been waiting for a 30-point game from Gary Trent. 11 of 22, so he shot 50%, 5 of 13 from 3. Make a couple of those more of those, I'll be even happier. If 3 for 3 at the free throw line, he should have had 3 more free throws. We know that. 3 rebounds. Yeah, not bad. Gary's solid shooter, looking for a shot, aggressive getting his shot, 22 shots, field goals. That's a fantastic thing. We need Gary to get that volume. And you see when he gets that volume, 30 points. So, yeah, good job, Gary Trent Jr. I'm proud of you. And keep doing stuff like this. Who knows? Your future with us may be very well happening. Second star of the game, Emmanuel Quickly. Emmanuel had his career high in assists last night, 18 assists. He's 2 away from the franchise record for the Raptors held by Fred VanVleet. So he goes on a list with names like TJ Ford, Jose Calderon, Fred VanVleet, stuff like that. So, yeah, good job, Quickly. Getting on the point guard high list, 18 assists. He was 1 rebound away from a triple-double. Quickly apparently does have 2 triple-doubles with the Knicks from before in his career. So he wouldn't be getting his first triple-double on the Raptors, but we'd like to see him get his third, and he's getting very close. He's been flirting with it the last few games. 21 points, 9 rebounds, 18 assists, 1 steal. Fantastic stuff, Quickly. In some ways, the balance of you choosing when to pass and when to shoot was perfect last night. They talked about it after the game with Quick in the post game. That how do you feel about it? Darko said he was doing a perfect job of balancing, going for his, and getting his teammates involved. And that's a really, really good thing. We love hearing that. And Quickly, you're a really smart guy. And honestly, I'm really, really impressed with your decision making, because you really are a successful kind of person, whether it's you making these crazy shots that nobody else should be taking because they're bad shots if other people shoot. And then also the way you're passing to your teammates, getting them involved. 18 assists is no joke, yo. That's a huge accomplishment. Very proud of Emmanuel. Very, very proud. My third star of the game is going to be RJ Barrett. Or no, it's Chris Boucher. Sorry, let me do Boucher first. Chris was interesting. Like everybody, I was really proud to see him come in. In some ways, he was chosen instead of Jonte because it was really like either him or Jonte playing, because he only does 9-man rotation. And Chris got the call, and Chris really made his minutes count. Very energetic. In some ways, part of what Darko's done with benching Chris is made him hungry. And that's the thing. You put Chris out there and he's hungry. Well, you see what he does. He's all over the place. 5 for 6 from the field, 11 points, 9 rebounds, 5 offensive rebounds, 2 assists. That's what we want from him. In some ways, Darko actually answered the questions everybody's been wanting to know last night after the game. Why have you not been playing Chris? And what is going on with Chris? He answered this stuff last night after the game. Y'all been wondering what the hell's wrong with Darko not playing Chris. And he said he's just a pro that he needs to be ready when I want to use him. And in some ways, he sees him as a 5 at this point. He called him a 5. He says he's a center, and he's a specialty center. A rolling center is what he said. He said that, part of the reason I haven't played Chris is because the team's makeup has changed. I wanted to see other guys, new guys that we just gotten. And in some ways, the makeup of the team is not conducive to play Chris in the lineups. Now, I'll say this, and I predicted this yesterday, that Chris might play against the Suns because the matchup is better. Obviously, you got Kevin Durant and Bol out there running around. Why not play Chris Boucher? And when you got that Boucher Bol matchup last night, those guys running around with each other. Bol was funny last night. He has a bag of tricks. He's got a couple different. He's got mid range, and he's got a three he hit in the corner too. So yeah, this was a game where the matchup made more sense. You don't play Chris against Jonas and Zion, but you play him against Kevin and Bol. Yeah, you do. And he was fantastic. He answered the call. He's an ultimate professional. In some ways, it made me come around. The way he had been burying him on the bench made me think there's no future for him. But now I do think there is, because he came out there, he excelled, he played badass. He showed he has merit and value to our team. He's definitely a weapon and something that we need on this team. And I think that I advocate to keep Chris Boucher on this team going forward. If Darko sees value in him and wants him on this team, keep him. Seriously, he's a good asset to have. And we'll see. We'll see. I have more hope for Chris and his future with the Raptors because of last night. Now, Darko said he's not completely pleased with Chris either. He said he wants them to show more discipline. So we're getting a little bit of the clues for why Chris is not necessarily in the doghouse, but he's got that new break in case of emergency vet status like Thad Young, Otto Porter from before. It's exactly what it is. He's going to get time, though, for the rest of the season at times. Not every game, though. Not every game. He's like semi-rotation is what we should call him. Semi-rotation. But yeah, I'm really proud of Chris. He answered the call. He looked good. He busted his ass. In some ways, it sucks that coaches keep telling him, you got to prove yourself. You got to prove yourself over and over again. Nick was hard on him. And now it seems like Darko is hard on him also. But then again, Chris has also said in interviews, the coaches that have been hard on him have gotten more out of him, so he appreciates it. In some ways, Chris is not afraid of tough love. Tough love is what got him to where he's gotten to at this point in his career as the rebounding role player that he is. So man, I'm not upset. I'm really glad he got in there, and I'm sure a lot of other Raptor fans are very happy to see Chris Boucher get minutes last night. The other stars, RJ Barrett, I'll give you a star, my guy. Yeah, RJ, he was great in some ways. Really fighting out there, 9 of 16 from the field. Once again, he's shooting so well. 23 points, 3 of 4 from 3, 2 of 3 from the free throw line. Only missed 1 free throw. 2 rebounds, 4 assists, 1 steal, 1 block. Yeah, RJ's a leader. RJ, like I said, with Kelly, they're kind of like, you know what? They really are Canadian. That's just what I'm going to say. Like, I know these guys are Canadian for some reason. Like last night, there was a little bit of a hockey element to the game. And I blame Barrett and Olynyk. I really do. These guys are Canadian. I mean, Kelly's out there doing hockey checks. And RJ's just got this grit and fight to him that is just so, I don't know. There's something about these guys I just love. And obviously, like their chemistry from Team Canada was showing at times last night too. There's a body of work between Olynyk and Barrett in the last couple of years practicing for Team Canada that really is helpful for us on the Raptors right now. And there was a play early in the game where they connected with each other where I was like, that's a Team Canada play. I was like, that's a Team Canada play. I remember seeing that last summer at FIBA World Cup. So that's kind of the fun thing about having these two guys. Like I said, you put some glasses on those guys and send them out there. They're the Hanson brothers from the movie Slapshot. Not the Hanson band, Bop. No, not them. Those long-haired dudes. Kelly's got the hair that's right where in fact, I've seen pictures of Kelly Olynyk dressed up as a Hanson brother in the past. I think I've very much seen him like Halloween or cosplay being a Hanson brother before. So he's perfect for him. And he plays like one. Seriously. Watch Kelly Olynyk on the court, how physical he is, how many times he's pushing somebody. And no, he needs those glasses on. I love it. I love it so much. It's so good. But RJ, you're like his brother in arms as the Canadian other Hanson brother. And maybe we put Chris in those glasses too. At one point, we had the Bob lineup. That's what I'm going to call it, the Bob lineup. In honor of great Canadian Bob McKenzie. It was Bob and Doug McKenzie, right? We got the Bob lineup last night. Barrett, Olynyk, and Boucher. Like all three of our Canadians on the court at the same time. That's the Bob lineup. And it looked good. I love it. I get this feeling. All right, look. I speculated about this before, and this may be part of the reason why Chris is on the outs with us. I don't think that Boucher gets along with the Team Canada guys. Seriously. I think they've been around each other for a long, long time. but there's history. I think there's history between Olynyk and Boucher, and even Barrett and Boucher. And I don't know if it's totally good. I don't know if it's totally good. In some ways, the body language and the way they all interact with Chris is not totally right. I don't know. In some ways, I've seen also Kelly Stone showing support for Chris and vice versa, but I don't think they're all that close. I think in some ways, the thing about them being Team Canada and Chris not being is awkward. I think that's awkward on the down low. I think in some ways, Chris is a really smart guy and he's in his feelings kind of guy, but he's also really like awoken as a person in his adulthood. He maybe when he's younger, he's foolish in maybe certain ways, but he's way wiser at this point. Lessons of life, Chris Boucher. In some ways, he could be angsty about it, but he probably is smart about it. But still, it's kind of like probably, I don't know. I'm trying to watch how he interacts with people. And right now, Chris is not totally in there with everybody. I can tell that him and Emmanuel are not totally like that close either. It's got to be really hard for Chris. The turnover of this team and losing good friends like Pascal and OG and Thaddeus. And, they were before the game, they showed Thaddeus and Chris talking to each other, getting together and kind of hugging each other. In fact, I'll go look at the Instagram stories real quick. It's kind of sad to see, honestly. But, there's Thad looking at his wife from the sideline. Of course, Thad didn't get in the game last night. That's too bad. We wanted to see him. But a lot of palling around with Thad around the game. Scotty Barnes is putting on blast Emmanuel quickly with his 18 assists, his career high. He was really proud of him for that. We see Jordan Wara and JFL coming into the game. Those entrance pictures of the team coming in, it looks like they're going to like a spa. Like the palm trees, and like RJ's wearing shorts walking in at the Phoenix game. Yeah, those pictures were funny. But yeah, they're on Chris's Instagram. There he is meeting with Thad before the game, reuniting, hugging, and say, man, I miss you, my vet. You're my guy. Miss you, Thad. Yeah, we miss Thad too. He's a good standing Raptors alumni for sure. For sure. All right, I'm still doing the stars, aren't I? My fifth star is Kelly Olynyk. I've already talked about him. He's 8 points. He didn't have the best scoring night. He did foul out at the end of the game. That's why he didn't play near the end, is because he had fouled out. 3 of 9 from the field, 1 of 6 from 3. He didn't score very well, but he was doing all kinds of dirty work, a lot of stat stuff, and 4 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 steals. Yeah, Kelly was just like, he was awesome. He was the dirtiest he's been in a Raptors jersey last night. That was the dirtiest I've seen Kelly play for us so far. And I loved it. I did not hate it. I thought it was so funny. Kelly's so funny out there. Oh my gosh, he's so funny. All right, let's keep going with the chat here. Trevor's saying Carl Anthony will have surgery and will be expected to return for the Western Conference playoffs. So they're saying that Anthony Towns will be back in time for the playoffs. Well, that's good. That's good for Minnesota. It really sucked. They'll be at the top of the Western Conference the whole year and get to this point and have Cat be out and have this whole season kind of go bleh. Yeah, that sucks. In some ways, I don't like that for Timberwolves. And that's good news, Trevor. I'd like to hear that Anthony Towns will be back in time, hopefully. Chris is saying, I saw the last bit of the Wolves game, and Ant-Man is one powerful dude. Whoa, that block was epic. And the shots he hit, wow, he's 6'4", 225 pounds, unstoppable shooting guard that looks to be an MVP. Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna toot his horn like everybody else is. They're trying to make him the face of the league, and Golden Boy. I have another guy I want to make the face of the league. So I mean, that's all impressive. That sounds like Jordan kind of stuff, is what that sounds like. Honestly, in some ways, he's got some Jordan-esque kind of stuff to him. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not gonna get all romantic about Anthony Edwards. I'm sorry, Chris. I'm not gonna get all romantic about this. Dana's saying, "Good morning, everyone." So I don't really have anyone to salute today. Well, you could salute the refs last night. I think Sean Wright, Justin Van Dyne, and Evan Scott deserve your salute today. I'll say that. Yeah, you want to salute Kevin Durant? Oh, okay, that's fine. Slim Reaper, he's so weird, man. Like whenever he makes a shot, they play the Undertaker's gong. Like what is that? Is this a mortuary? Is this guy like that? It is kind of imposing. It is kind of interesting, like in-game op to have that Undertaker gong every time Durant scores a basket. It is kind of a little creepy. Dong. I don't know. Durant's all right. I don't hate Durant. He's on my fantasy team, and I got some points for him last night. But still, he is a snake. He is like in some ways not very like somebody you should look up to. In some ways, I get it. I get it. All right, let's see. Chris is saying Nurkic and Eubanks. Laugh out loud. It wasn't the case. We had Eubanks for a moment. Goes to show you, don't let solid built 7-footers go. We didn't have him in some ways. I don't know. All right, I'm trying to remember what this was. There was a trade, yeah, and I think he was part of the. I don't remember which trade. I'm not worried about keeping Eubanks. No, come on, Chris. Whatever. I don't want him on our team. Fuck that guy. No, Eubanks, whatever. Nah, what are you talking about? That whatever move was done at that time was the right move because we needed to do it for roster construction. We had another guy. We had to waive him because we valued the other person. And I don't know. I don't look back on that. I mean, I'm not less. It's weird. It's like, okay, all right. I can see you being all entranced by Ant-Man. But yeah, don't be entranced by Eubanks. Trevor's saying 905, come back, close one, take the win. Yeah, that was a good one. Chris is saying I also like Bruce Brown's outfit the way he was dressed down there in cowboy country, cattle country. No place for city slickers. I wonder if Bruce birthed a calf before the game. Yeah, that wasn't the jokes I was making last night in the chat. I was basically saying this. They were really good jokes too. Fiercely thought they were funny. The first thing I said was Bruce Brown looks like a walking advertisement for Scotty Barnes trade school. Yeah, he's like sitting next to Bruce on the bench, Scotty, and which I was so happy to see Scotty at the game. I was like, all right, if Scotty's not at the games on the West Coast trip, I totally understand. He's got to convalesce. He's got to get better. He's got to heal. But he was there, and he was so passionately following the game and cheering for the guys and interactive and stuff. It made me so my heart swell with so much happiness because it shows Scott is invested. It shows Scott gives a shit about the Raptors, even if he's not playing. And that's important. Those kind of signs are important. And Scotty looked great in his gray sweater. You saw the black cast on his hand, and he was definitely involved. Now, yeah, Bruce sitting next to him was pretty funny. They were talking the whole game. Another joke I said was the Suns fans are wondering why there's a contractor sitting on the Raptors bench. Yeah, he looked like he was about to go and like fix something. He looked like he might work for Tada Services, 647-833-6844. Bruce Brown Jr. will come to your house and fix your plumbing. Yeah. He just looked like that. He had the overalls. That's what's weird about it. If they don't know who he is, the Suns fans might have been like, who is that guy sitting on the bench? He looks like he came to work on the rims. Like, who is that guy? He looks like he's been gardening out front, like doing the landscaping outside Footprint Arena. What is this? Who is that guy sitting over there? Because he's not a really crazy NBA height either. They may be like, why is Bob the Builder sitting on the Raptors bench? Like, seriously. He's like a walking advertisement for Scotty's trade school. It's awesome. Cream saying quickly and Gary going to finish the season on such a tear. They need a structured settlement and they want cash now. Call Masai and Bobby, 877 cash now. All right, Kareem. Don't threaten me with a good time with your funny comment. Definitely, we're going to give you a dunk for that. That is silliness. They need cash now. Yeah, these guys are going to get them points, and I love it. Keep going, Gary. Keep stringing this together and get it going, man. Get it going. Yeah, quickly and Gary. All right, let me see. Where's Kareem? We got to give him. I'm going to give you a 3-pointer. Because this is just silly. Cash now. What is this, man? Come on now. 77? 77? You're at Luka's number now. Holy crap. I was kind of skeptical about Bruce and his comments once we acquired him, but now seeing him in street clothes, love the dude's swag. Overall, Chesterfield button up and backwards trucker hat, impressed. He could be down at the Love's truck stop getting all those apparel. You know that. That man dresses like some of the people that I know from back in Florida, Tallahassee, in the Big Bend area of Florida. Yeah. I mean, it is different. It's definitely different. I mean, I don't know. Workman swag. Is this really what we're getting to? Is this a real fashion genre? Seriously. I just look at it as like he's wearing work clothes. Like, is this really a real genre of fashion? I got to ask Gary Trent on this. Like, Gary, how do you feel about Bruce's fashion? Like, is that a real like fashion motif? Like workman? This dude's Bob the Builder, man. This guy is crazy with his style. I don't know. It's refreshing. It's different. I've never seen it. And some people may be coming to the game, like I said, and thinking that guy's about to go work on something at the game. It's like, why does he have to sit in the middle of the bench? Shouldn't he be there just in case in the back? Oh, it's so crazy. All right, let's keep going. Bryce is here. Good morning, Lex and Raptor Freaks. Yes, yes, Bryce. Good to see you, my guy. MSJ saying the lack of yak. That's pretty good. The lack of yak was the biggest issue for us. And look at it. Past two MVPs were big men. The Wolves are on top of the NBA with two of them. Garbage teams don't have any. Roy is going to be one. Roy is going to be one. Who's Roy? Roy is going to be one. Well, rookie of the year is going to be. Oh, rookie of the year is going to be one. That's what you mean. Yeah. No, we need Yak. There was a moment where Nurkic was dominating, where Nurkic was a big boy and nobody could stop him and nobody like mess with him. But they didn't go to that too much. Frank Vogel's a weird coach. He's a weird coach. In some ways, they had weapons and were doing things. They went away from them. I don't understand that, Sons. Y'all had us in a couple of ways, like on the mat, and we're done. We're beaten. But you didn't even go to them. Like Nurkic should have been dominating us the whole night. But I guess Kelly was doing enough, like messing them up with like scrappiness and dirtiness that it kind of negated it. It is a weird game with that. Nurkic was definitely a problem at times. And Jakob would have handled him. That's for sure. Yeah. G saying Raptors are now 2-11 without Yak. Yeah. Hopefully he can come back. He's not at the game last night, though. It's interesting. Scotty was there. Maybe Jakob still got some more time to heal from his surgery. Yeah, Chris is saying I get fans like the players who play sexy. They're not the plotting bigs in the paint, but you can't win without size now since so many shots are going up from three and so many rebounds to be had. Yeah, the other thing is the defense's nuts have been chopped, and you really do kind of need clogs. You need clogs. If you can't touch people, you can't hand check people, you can't guide people or any of that kind of stuff. Well, you need size. You need guys who take up space. And in some ways, that's the knock on Chris Boucher. And that's why you need Jakob out there because he clogs it up. He's impeding the players from coming to the basket. If you don't have a big guy that's kind of getting in the way, well, people will come inside and score as they wish. And that's the problem right there. That's the big problem. Your two best shot blockers and rebounds are out. Yeah, that's the problem. We're open for business, and guys can just come on in and do whatever they want right near the basket. Unless Kelly's in there being dirty, pushing, get out of here, hitting you on the arm, doing all the good dirty stuff. And they can't call it all. So you go, Olenek. Seymour saying, I like the game we played being shorthanded. Allen killed us. Fixed the perimeter defense. Too many threes. Yeah, I'm really proud of them. The battling, the scrappiness, we kept with them. We were threatening to win the game. We could have honestly won the game in an alternate universe in some ways. There was a path for us to win the game last night. It could have happened. We could have done it. We had to tighten everything up real nice as far as making all of our free throws, executing, and getting stops. But the opportunity with the margin and the way the game was going, that game could have been taken. And that's why I'm saying if we had Scotty, I think we would have won. That's what I'm saying. If we would have had Jakob, either one of those two guys, just one of them, we would have won the game last night because that would have made enough of a difference for us to take up a win on a lackadaisical Suns team. They're lazy. They're not going to do well in the playoffs. They are not. They are lazy. They're a lazy-ass team. And it's the tone set by Durant and LeBron on their teams that make these teams lazy like this. These guys are older. In some ways, they've done it all. What do they have to prove? In some ways, they're motivated to play and get accolades and stuff. But what level of compete and play are they really competing at is what I'm asking. In some ways, Kevin Durant line like last night, like what did he do last night exactly? He was 11 and 19, 35 points. That's a really good game. But honestly, it didn't seem like he was even trying in some ways. Did it seem like Kevin was trying or really working hard? No, that's just him coasting and getting that. That's what I'm saying. Him and LeBron can coast on their talent. And by a byproduct, the way they work filters down to all the rest of the guys on the team. So LeBron is lackadaisical and floats on his talent in his life. Kevin, the same thing. The rest of the team will do the same kind of shit. And that's the problem with those kind of teams. That's the problem with the Suns and the Lakers. Lazy leadership at the top. And guys aren't trying anymore. They're old. Well, the rest of the team kind of takes that character. It really does. David's here. Good game, boys. There you go. David's seal of approval for you, Raptors. You did the good fight. And David Saborn's proud of you. Fiercely saying, good morning, family, and happy Friday. Good morning to you, Fiercely Saul, Sarah. We fought hard yesterday, so I'm okay with the outcome. More and more, I enjoy watching IQ on the court. Extremely efficient for us. We saw a couple of things with IQ near the basket last night that was fun. He dunked. That was cool. And I love the call by Alvin at one point. Look at the English on that muffin. Alvin Williams, 10 out of 10 on the English with the muffin call on the game. That's the kind of stuff I'm here for, Boogie. Yeah, the English on the muffin. Yeah. Put the English on the muffin. Yes, Alvin Williams. But no, the finishes by Emmanuel near the basket with the spinnies and coming up and under. Some of that stuff last night was really beautiful. Really beautiful finishing for a little guy in the paint and getting the burst of speed to get past people and twisting and turning and going different ways to get that ball to get in. And it was awesome. And him dunking was really good. I'm like, all right, we've seen IQ dunk. And I know when he dunked, the bench let him know. And because he turned, he's like talking to Scotty a lot through the game. Scotty's saying stuff during the game. And I'm sure he commented on IQ's dunk in that moment because IQ kind of turned and laughed at the bench or something like that. So yeah, that was fun. And that's the kind of expansion of his game that we're seeing more and more as we have more time with Emmanuel on our team. We get to see more of this fun stuff with him. And this is the stuff that he's going to develop better. Like, I think the finishing near the basket, forget about the outside shots. It's the stuff near the basket, the circus shots, the finishing in traffic, the finishing through contact that may come more and more in the future. If he has a development curve that can kind of go anywhere like Maxi's, these are the areas where he'll expand. And I'm all about it. The ways he finds to score are fun and they're creative. And they're fun to watch for sure. I've been enjoying it too. Very, very enjoying it. Fiercely saying, also so happy Chris got to play. He was so valuable. Darko explained at the presser why he wasn't playing. You were right, Lex. His defensive presence is lacking. We saw it at one point late in the game when Chris was out there being the center, open for business. They could do whatever they want coming in, and that's exactly the reason why. In some ways, Darko cannot trust him out there. I think it's really telling that he looks at him as a center. I don't agree with that. I wish you could change that, Darko. I feel like that may be why you're not playing him as much. But you know what? In some ways, he has to look at him as a center with our roster makeup being so small right now. We've short-sized our team. So Scotty and Chris have to be forwards or centers. And that's part of it right there. And Chris is out there. I want him to be with a guy who's at least one guy that's bigger than him. And the roster on our team doesn't have very many guys like that. I think Kelly's the only one right now, and Jonte. So if Chris isn't out there with Kelly or Jonte, he's the center. And we can't do that. It's going to cause us to have no defense. And that's the big problem right there. Yeah, Paul B saying, this is a fun team to watch, develop. Thank you, Masai. Thank you, Paul B, for popping in and having a comment today. We love Paul. Paul's our guy holding it down in Wisconsin. And he's done some technical work for me on this channel in the past. And we love you, Paul. I'm going to give you a 3-pointer for just coming in and saying hi today. And also, yeah, we want to thank Masai for an entertaining team. If we lose, we are at least getting entertained with fun passing, cool stuff, and good gritty play by people like Kelly Olynyk. So that's what I'm saying. Thank you, Masai. In some ways, the Canadian content factor, it matters. And in some ways that helps through the hard times. It's like, well, at least we get to watch Kelly and RJ play for Toronto. In some ways, that's part of the fun too. Like, there's a real joy in that. That's for sure. 905 saying G is saying the 905 were bouncy, very bouncy. They'd rested. They had a lot of spring in their step, and they were anxious to get back out there and play some more. You could tell by how they were getting above the rim. Oh yeah, these guys were very rested and ready and raring to go. Yeah, that 905 game last night was one of the best games to go to this season. That game was close. That game has full of highlights and dunks. And everybody who went to that game was extremely entertained. One of the things Jamias Ramsey said after the game was It's very interesting playing for the 905 here because y'all actually have a crowd. And there's energy from the crowd. He's used to G League games where nobody shows up. He's used to G League environments that are absolutely quiet and like a quiet ass gym. And it's refreshing to Ramsey to come out to Mississauga and see how we get a crowd at 905 and they get boisterous. He said that's not common in the G League. That's what he said in his post game, that he appreciates them for that. So yeah, it was a good crowd down there. Really good crowd at 905, and they supported them well and got them the victory. Good job. Congrats, IQ and Gary. We don't like losing, but it's more expected this year. Watching them develop is fun. Yeah, Gary, thank you. Thank you, Gary. You started off real well again in this game, and you kept going. You kept it going through the whole game. In fact, you hit some late shots too. 30 points. We need this more often. This is your time, Gary. This is your time to shine. With Scotty out, we need you. We need you badly. So come and be a hero, Gary Trent Jr. You've got it in you. We can see it. You've got it, my guy. You've got it. Let's see. Bryce is here. Bradley is a con. Bradley is a con. Who? Bradley Beal? Bradley Beal is a con. Yeah, I think you're right. You mean he's stealing money? Yeah. I didn't respect him. I haven't respected him for like 6 years now. I respected him very early in his career when he was young. He was hungry. He was dangerous. He would do crazy shit to us. I think we played Washington in the playoffs, and he was the problem at some point way back. I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe my memory's not. Maybe I'm mixing up Washington teams from before with Paul Pierce. But yeah, Bradley Beal, I do not fear anymore. In fact, I'll bet the Raptors scouting report tells you go ahead and let him shoot at this point. One of the things they were criticizing Darko at the press conference was you were doubling off of Grayson too much and allowing him to shoot so open. That was a problem. They were maybe coming to double Kevin too much. And the benefit of it for the Suns was Grayson Allen going off with the threes in the first. So there was an adjustment made at the beginning of the game to not like collapse on Kevin so much or give him so much attention and kind of go and like make sure you're getting Allen too. That adjustment was made, and we saw that he did not be so prolific after the first quarter. Thank goodness. Thank goodness. Yeah. Yeah. Dana's saying, I didn't give my salute to the refs today. I have 0 Fs for them. It's expected. She's like, she's not going to give the salute to the refs because she just expects this. Hilarious. Yeah, I'm really disappointed in that crew. Justin Van Dyne's a snake. I've never liked him. Sean Wright, I used to like, but I'm slowly not liking him. I think there's been a couple games this season where he's very much disappointed me. Evan Scott's just so young. He's just trying to be established and just go with the flow. But he also gets confused. There were a couple times in the game where the refs didn't know what the fuck to do. They're like, what is the call here? And they're like trying to figure it out. They screwed us over on a couple of those too. There was a couple of times where the ball was out on the other team. We should have got it. And they said jump ball or some shit. The refs were really bad last night. They were really bad. And they were screwing us over. They were. But it's not the reason why we lost. The opportunities to beat the Suns were still there, even though the refs were killing us and not being fair. Yeah. Let's see. Seymour saying Gary keeps getting fouled shooting threes and no call. Yeah, everybody's getting fouled and there's no calls for us. That is the fucking biggest sham in the world. NBA refs, we see what you're doing. We see what you're doing, how one-sided it is. And in fact, you could see the frustration on the Raptors. All of them were like yelling and mad at the refs. IQ got mad at them. RJ got mad at them. Kelly got mad at them. Grady got mad at them. Just confused about what the fuck, Gary. Yeah, all of them were getting upset with like just the shitty ass fucking calls last night. Really, really bad calls. All going against our team and all helping the Suns. Let's see. Smooth's here. Good to see Smooth. Considering the Raptors were undermanned against a healthy Suns, proud of the effort. Can't take Phoenix seriously as a contender, more like a pretender. Boom goes the dynamite. Smooth Brown Man is speaking what I believe too. This team is not built to win a championship. This team is just as much fool's gold as the Brooklyn Nets with Kevin Durant. In fact, they're very similar. That's what I meant the other day when I said this team is like the Nets with Durant. You're going to have 3 superstars. You just take out James Harden and Kyrie Irving and slip in Bradley Beal and Devin Booker. And it's the same kind of thing. You've got all these huge contracts, these 3 guys, and they eat up the whole salary cap, and you fill out the whole rest of the team with garbage. And you're not going to get anywhere with this kind of build. That's why the 3 superstar model is dead. You guys got this in under the wire, Matashiba, with your Bradley Beal deal just before they changed the salary cap rules. And in some ways, it's folly and stupid because honestly, the new rules are going to make it so you can't have any good players other than your big 3. And that's not a good enough team. We can see the difference between the quality of the team of the New Orleans Pelicans with 10 deep and y'all with 3 quality, ultra quality top players. One of them's not that good, honestly. He's a con, just like somebody just said. And you see just how not good your team is overall. That's the problem with what this Phoenix Suns, they spent too much money on their top 3 players. No money for anybody left over. And a lot of the bench and the people on it are just kind of like fill-ins. And it's not a good team. They're not built for far in the playoffs. And in fact, they're very reminiscent of the Nets when Kevin was there. It's the same kind of build. 3 big superstars, take all the money, and then a bunch of who the fuck is the rest of the team. It's the same thing. It's the same thing. Seymour saying, salute the man who developed the Warriors before the fame, Mark Jackson. Yeah. You know, Mark Jackson, in some ways, he's an amazing player. He's a great announcer, but I don't know if he was a good coach. That whole controversy and saying the things, the reasons why he didn't keep that job, he did say some out of pocket shit. It was really dumb. In some ways, he got canceled because he said some non-PC kind of shit. It was not smart what he did. And that's the reason why he's not gotten a coaching job since. He said it while he was with the Warriors when he was coaching them. And it really got him on the shit list for that. Now, he can be on TV. He can announce games. But they don't know. He's probably never going to coach ever again. And yeah, it's an interesting situation with him. You know what? The best thing he's ever been was an assist point guard. That, oh my gosh, his early career with the Knicks, his rookie year in particular, absolutely fantastic. He had one of the best rookie years as a point guard in this league ever in the history, Mark Jackson. And his assist numbers in his first part of his career were absolutely insanely high. So yeah, I'll remember Mark Jackson for being a New York Knick and a Raptor, and not so much for the other stuff. Also Pacers career. His Pacers career was really good too. So yeah, he's an interesting player for sure. Seymour saying that should have been a flagrant on Nurkic. He elbowed Kelly in the head. Yeah, that was great how Kelly flopped. Like he really sold it. He sold it. He didn't have to fall over like that, but he did. And there some of the Kelly's moves that he can teach Grady and Scotty were on display last night. Kelly was doing the veteran, dirty, weird shit that in some ways I was waiting to see on our team. Well, he pulled it out last night. He was doing it last night. It was awesome. I think you're right. They could have called the flagrant on the elbow that caught Kelly's nose when he flopped. But I'm just happy they recognized that because there were a couple plays where Raptors were hitting the floor from contact and they were ignoring it. You know, that whether you call it a flop or anything like that, they were still ignoring people getting run over. You know, there was a lot of bullshit. They were calling fouls really, really unfairly last night. Really, really not consistent either. Yeah. Let's see. Seymour saying, I thought he was knocked out the way he fell. Yeah, that's his acting. That's his skills. I mean, he got him good. And, you know, he could have broken his nose for sure. But, man, Kelly's so scrappy, man. G saying Kelly body checking Allen was my favorite. That was so funny. That was so funny. In some ways, they wanted to get him for a dirty play. I think Kelly backed into him, right? He didn't push him. He kind of turned around and, like, went like this into him, which was absolutely insanely awesome. He stopped the fast break, first of all. He sent a message. That's another thing. Yeah, I love that play too, G. And it was very Canadian. In some ways, that's a Canadian. It's not a Canadian heritage moment, but it's a very Canadian moment. The Canadian guy on the Toronto Raptors doing a hockey check in the middle of the game. It's hilarious. Fiercely saying, speaking of hockey, I tried to watch the last 2 Raptors shows on Sportsnet to shit on Will Liu and his comment. I can't find the episode. Couldn't make it past 3 minutes. I know it's hard to watch. Yeah. Well, it is what it is. We'll just let it pass. Yeah, he has that effect. Steve say, yeah, he has that effect. He's got the little garbage symbol in there. Yeah, all right, y'all. You're funny. All right, let's see. Fiercely saying, I see Sportsnet channel is very heavy on hockey. It took me a while to stumble on Raptors content. Yeah. Well, that's just the truth. I told y'all the priorities with them, baseball and hockey are pretty equal. Now, when the summer comes, they really switch over to Blue Jays, Blue Jays, Blue Jays, Blue Jays. But yeah, during the season, the hockey percentage of airtime is like, I don't know if the way it used to be back in the day, it used to be like 80-20. Like if there was like any kind of just the hockey and basketball on sports, it would be 80% hockey and like 20% NBA for like the very early NBA Raptors. And then like more recently, it's a little bit better, but it's still kind of like 70-30 or like maybe even worse at times. Yeah, it's annoying. It's very much annoying. Now, in some ways, people will argue, well, the NHL has more Canadian teams, there's more Canadian content, and people have more general interest in all the hockey teams. So there should be more hockey highlights. And there's just the Raptors. That's bullshit. You could show the highlights of the whole league of the NBA too. Seriously. Tristan's saying good game. He's proud of them. He felt like they battled. They played, they can hold their head up high. There was some individual achievement on our team last night with Quickly and Gary. Yeah, this is good stuff. Those are good things in general. And we're really happy about the effort and how they kept it close. They weren't embarrassed. And, they had a chance to win. They had a chance to win, a real chance. Let's see. Chris is saying Boucher is, in fact, a good bench player. Maybe he is not the smartest player out there, X's and O's. I hope he can improve for Darko. No, I think Chris is really smart. It's not even that about his smarts. It's about his body. It's about his body type. It's about just being able to take up space. Once again, we have skinny man syndrome. Both him and I. I have it too. I've had it my whole life. I finally gained weight in my 40s. And it's great. And I still look skinny as hell. I was really skinny too. And I would try and gain weight. I would eat like a horse. And you just can't do it. It's not like Chris is not trying to gain weight. He's tried to do that his whole entire career. He's tried to gain weight. He's put on muscle by working out. It's just really hard for him. In some ways, it's a weird thing. He really is a very unique kind of player in this league. In some ways, he's a new age player that's not really from the old NBA, but the old NBA and the new NBA are in battle with each other. And in some ways, like he's part of the future, maybe. But there's still like you need the size of Yak and people like that, and because of the old NBA. I don't know. Maybe he's from the future. Maybe he's more like the player of the future, Chris Boucher. Maybe he is. Well, I don't know. Victor's maybe a sign of that right there. Let's see. David saying JFL ain't so bad. Kind of like the guy. You know what I'm really impressed with about Javon is how much he's changed how he plays for the Raptors compared to how he played for the 905. 905, he's such a focal point. In fact, he is basically like like take all the shots as much as possible. Green light, go, go, go. And now he has to switch it and kind of like tether himself to like not overly shooting. He really does have to pass more than he shoots. They don't want him to take the shots as much. It is a pecking order. And in some ways, even though he's the top dog on the 905 and he's going to get most of the shots down there, well, on the Raptors, his slice of the pie is a little smaller. And in some ways, he needs to be looking for Grady. He needs to be looking for Gary. He needs to be looking for the senior guys that have been around longer. But he can take his chances and take his shots too. Let me see what Javon did last night. He did get in the game, and he got 5 points, 1 of 4 from the field. He could have shot a little better, but 2 of 2 at the free throw line. 3 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 block. I was thinking when Javon was shooting the free throws, I was like, it's got to be so weird for him going from the G League to this. You're in the big time, man. There's a whole crowd. You're in a big, huge arena in Phoenix. You're shooting free throws, and they're loud, and the bright lights are out there. In some ways, this is why things don't translate all the time from the G League to the big league, is the bright lights and the aura of the bigness of it, the bigness of the players. Javon Freeman Liberty's out there running around with Bol all of a sudden, and Kevin Durant and Yusuf Nurkic. The players are just bigger. Everything's bigger and brighter and tougher. And that's why sometimes 905 scoring and 905 kind of things and G League kind of stuff doesn't always translate to the big league, because people can get a little like, there's like thousands of people watching me now instead of hundreds. And there's bright lights and there's bigger players I have to compete against. So I think JFL's doing a great job transitioning to playing more of the way that they need him to with the Raptors than how he was doing with the 905, because he could have easily just done what he done down there and it wouldn't work. Trust me, it wouldn't work. Fiercely saying, yeah, Seymour, it was unbearable. I just gave up. We'll blast him on another occasion because I know he'll act up again. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I have trouble doing that kind of stuff too. Like I'll come in and I'll try and watch who's somebody I tried to watch recently, and I'm just like, I can't do this. They're too annoying. I see that Gilbert Arenas is stepping in it all of a sudden. He's been annoying. I've never really looked at him as a superstar or a legend. People always like, I've stopped watching Sean David of the Basketball Time Machine recently because in some ways he's really gone crazy. He's very like upset with Scottie Pippen and Horace Grant for going on the anti-bullshit tour, talking about the truth about The Last Dance. And he's really upset with them. Well, they have their own story. They're allowed to sell their side of the story. And why are you hating on Horace Grant so hard? You're like, yeah, man, he really loves Michael so much that he can't allow them. I know Scotty's bitter. I know Scotty's acting wrong. But anyway, he called Gilbert Arenas a legend. And I'm like, no, he's not. Gilbert Arenas is not an NBA legend. He is not. And, it just turned me off. I stopped following him after that. So I can't watch Sean David anymore because his content, I don't know. He's made turned a really weird corner recently. And Gilbert Arenas got in trouble because he said that they should kick all the Europeans out of the league, that they're making this league soft. He said that. He said some crazy xenophobic thing against European players in the NBA. And now he's in hot water. Well, this kind of shit was going to happen the way he's so unfiltered and so stupid with some of his takes. I knew this shit was going to happen to him. So he's in big trouble right now, being like anti-European and like being like kind of like xenophobic. Gilbert being very xenophobic in his recent episode. Let's see. Raps Love's here. Good to see Raps Love. The love for the Raps, we all share it, and Raps Love has got it in the name. This team has talent, and they're very young. I like where we're heading. Me too. If you think about it this way, Raps Love, this is the bottom floor. And, we're going to get better and better. Scotty returns. Jakob returns. We see more increases with these guys. We switch some of them in and out for even better players this summer. I think we're going to acquire a draft pick that'll be very helpful for next year. I think we'll re-sign IQ, and then we'll also re-sign somebody else in free agency. So there's going to be some better players that are going to come in with the nucleus we already have and make it even better. So I'm excited about next year. This rest of the season's a wash. It's going to be interesting to see how they play out. I just want them to be competitive and play games like last night. If they don't win the game, so be it. But we can be proud and see like the promise of the future and what we're seeing. Can't we, Raps Love? Can't we? We can see the promise of the future. That's right. Dap, dap, dap. Fiercely saying Kelly did hella flipping yesterday. At times it worked, other times it didn't. Yeah, it's a hit and miss. And it's hilarious. He's so awesome. Kelly's a real one. And I love, in some ways, it's once again, Toronto fans love the blue collarness of sports people, whether it's on the Leafs, somebody like Ty Domi, whether it's on the Blue Jays, somebody like Josh Donaldson. They love gritty, gutsy, blue collar kind of people in sports. And Kelly is that guy. And what's not to love? He's from Toronto. He's doing hockey shit on the court. He's Canadian as hell. And man, is he doing some dirty ass blue collar shit out there. You're going to win the love of all Raptors fans everywhere when you see the blue collar work of Kelly Olynyk. It is amazing and fun. Yeah. Fiercely saying, man, Ant-Man is nice, but not as nice as a future face of the league, young Scott Wayne Barnes. Scott Wayne Barnes Jr. went to the Phoenix Suns game last night and sat at this courtside in his bench with Bruce Brown Jr., a known contractor. All right, Ratzlow saying it's disgusting. The fouls they miss clear as day. The NBA is losing rings, and it's because of officials. It's a messed up, man. Like that. How is that not a foul on Gary? Everybody saw it. Everybody freaked out, and the refs are like nonplussed. They're not. They're like not. They're not reacting. These guys are really trained on how to screw people over. Like the fact that they're not just automatically calling that a whistle on that foul on Gary's three-point shot is telling that they have the discipline to like, oh yeah, no, we're not calling that, because they have to have the forethought in their head. No matter what happens on here, I'm not calling the whistle. That's basically what they have to be, because if they are trained like Pavlov's dog, foul, called whistle. Well, how the fuck is that disconnect not happening there? They have to consciously be telling their brain, the Raptors have the ball. The Raptors have the ball. No whistle, no whistle. No whistle, no whistle. Phoenix has the ball. Whistle, whistle. That's the kind of shit they're doing with their brains. Because if they were automatic about calling fouls, that play on Gary was automatically a whistle. So they have to be thinking premeditatively before that happens. We're not calling the whistle no matter what. I can witness this shit with logic. And that sounds exactly like the truth, what I just said, doesn't it? That they are preemptively saying, we're not calling a whistle no matter the fuck what happens on this possession. And they could slap the shit out of Gary Trent's arm and we're not putting him on the line for 3 points. The same thing with RJ Barrett, barrel into the basket. He's going to get like 5 arms on him, slapping him on the shoulders and arms as he goes in there and he does this and puts it in. We're not going to call it. We've already decided that. We decided that when he had the ball at half court, that the whistle will not be blown no matter what. It's premeditated, non-blowing the whistles going on here. And that Gary Trent foul is the epitome of it. I love seeing RJ do his little let the people go by and stay here. He goes in the lane and he gets real close and they're coming at him and they fall off and then he stays there and then he shoots it over. Oh, it's so awesome. The delay, the spin around, the get room, get in there, make room and delay. He's really good with timing. He doesn't rush and he's so good at finishing through contact. RJ, you are awesome. As much as I love Kelly, I love RJ too. Man, in some ways, it's like I love our old team, but the Canadian content factor is just so bonding and just feels so right and so pure and so true. It's like I love Pascal, I love OG, but I love this team we got right now more because these guys are Canadians. These are Torontonians playing for Toronto. How can you not love this, Raptors fans? Because there's no denying these guys play for their city because this is their city. This is their city, and they're playing for it. And Kelly Olynyk was 4 years old. He wanted to play for the Raptors. He plays for the Raptors now, and he gets to shove people out of bounds for the Raptors. That's right. He dreamed about that at 4 years old. I'm going to shove Yusuf Nurkic out of bounds when I get to be in my 30s. I'm going to push him out. Fiercely saying Durant's mid-range is gold. However, DeMar's is top tier. Yeah, I mean, if you want me to compare mid-range game, I'm going to give DeMar this Kevin's got extra height. He's doing that little 1 foot hop to the side and shooting. He really is an artist, and I really don't hate him. I think that he's made bad decisions in his career, but I think that he is absolutely a top-level talent in the history of this game. I do not think that he's like fake as far as top 75 with some of these other guys like Harden and Lillard. Yeah, he is a legit top 75. And when they say he's one of the greatest to ever lace it up, they mean it. They mean it. That's for real. And I don't disparage that. That is true. That is true. He is. But DeMar's mid-range, better. He's a better mid-range artist. Yeah. Fiercely saying Bruce Brown. Yeehaw. Yeehaw. Yeah, I don't want to make too much fun of Bruce Brown. It's just his style. He's Bob the Builder style. I don't know. We got to get the true deets from Serge Ibaka, OG Anunoby, Gary Trent Jr. Can y'all give me like a fashion breakdown on Bruce Brown's swag? Can you please tell me what you think, Serge Ibaka? Do you think that he has art, or is this just work? It's like Serge Ibaka sees Bruce Brown. He says, "This is not art. This is not art, man. This is work. You're doing work." That's a pretty good Serge Ibaka, isn't it, man? Serge looking out for his buddy Bismack, worried about his fainting. He tweeted yesterday, "Prayers up for my brother, Bismack Biyombo." And Bismack, he tweeted later saying, yeah, I'm glad everybody's worried about me. I'm okay. Sometimes God wants to remind you that you're human and that you're susceptible. And well, he wanted to do it in front of everybody is what he did. And then he did admit later that they found out that the issue with Bismack Biyombo was dehydration, that he just was dehydrated. That's why he fainted. So it's good to know the issue for why it happened. And it's good to see the solidarity between Ibaka and Biyombo as far as like Ibaka having Bismack's back and worried about him. That's those classic Raptors. We love you guys. And yeah, I can do a pretty good Serge Ibaka impression, right? That is not art. That's work. All right, let's keep going. All right. All right, let's see. Fiercely saying, yes, Lex, Scotty cheering on the sidelines was amazing to watch. And IQ mentioned it at the presser. He's appreciated it. Scotty cares. Scotty's coaching. Scotty is a cheerleader. Scotty is talking trash. Scotty is having fun with his teammates. You see him smiling. This is all good stuff. In some ways, listen, the loss last night, we can hold our head up high in a lot of different ways. We battled. We did really good. We did better than I would have expected. Some people probably were expecting us to get routed by 20. just like against the Pelicans. No, we hung with them and we battled and we were respectable. And in some ways, you can say, like, look, like I said, you have Scotty in there. It's a whole different game. If Scotty's healthy and he's playing, and he knows that too. He's like, I can watch it, man. If I was out there, I would have helped y'all win. Is basically like I would have added, and boom, we would have won. I think he could plausibly say that. So it's really good. In some ways, we can see how much we miss him, but also I love to see him supporting the team and being present. There's been superstars in the past that don't do this, and it's very telling. It's very, very telling. So thank God. I mean, in some ways, I was going to give Scott this whole trip. If he didn't reemerge on the bench until they came back to Toronto, I would have been okay with it. But the fact that he showed the initiative and he's at Phoenix and he's with the team and he's traveling with them, he's probably going to be in Portland tomorrow. That's awesome. That's awesome. This is all really important. This is all very, very important. Let's see. Seymour saying, can we give Grady a nickname? Hearing Dick from the corner almost had me spit out my Henny when I was sipping. Yeah, I don't know. What is his nickname? It has to be natural. We've gone through this with MSJ as far as trying to give nicknames to people. They just don't stick unless they come from Matt Devlin. He's the one who makes the nicknames because he's the broadcast. If he comes up with some sort of witty nickname for Grady Dick, yeah, I'm all about it. But we need to be careful here. This is the kind of person that you nickname, you can really, make a dirty nickname if you're not careful. I don't know. I mean, listen, I'm going to use the name Grady with him more often than his last name, just because I know phrasing issues will come up in all kinds of different ways. Yeah, I've done them on purpose for fun, and I know y'all have made many a dick joke. But yeah, I don't know. In some ways, I get what you're saying. I don't know what his nickname is. I love Grady. Like, honestly, let's talk about Grady a little bit from game last night. His stat line was interesting. 4 of 12, 4 of 10 from 3. So he got 4 3-pointers in this one. He didn't make any in the Pelicans game. He lost a streak of consecutive games with a 3, but he got back on it and got 4 last night. So I'm really happy about that. And some of the shots were under pressure. And it really is just a nice form, a nice rotation, really, really good shooter. And he's going to get better and better. I'm really, really proud of Grady. And once again, he moves really well off the ball, and he's not hurting us on defense. He's an active rebounder. What did I say yesterday? That they need a gang rebound. All of them need to go be crashing the boards to make things work right now. Well, right in the minute of the game, Alvin Williams says the team needs a gang rebound tonight. I must know what I'm talking about because they said that, and Grady's a part of that for sure. Grady is a part of that. Yeah. David's laughing. Chris is saying if Grady ever gets a nickname, it's not going to be pretty. I won't go into the details here. Just be glad Dick is not a center, blocking shots, clogging the lane. It could be worse. Dick block. That's the other word is the other one, right? Okay. Yeah, that's funny. David's saying this version of the Raptors is absolutely sick. I love watching these guys fly around, and a lot of raw talent they'll polish up. One of the things that's going to happen is that we're going to get taller. I'll bet you we'll get taller this summer. We'll only short size ourselves for the time when we need to be short sized and lose. And we'll do our roster this summer, and we'll have more height to be able to size up with people. That may be one of the biggest things we work on this summer. Is like adding more height or size to our team. Because right now we don't have it right now. I could see that being a big difference. Yeah, I love this team. I think this is very consensus. Even though we're losing, this team's a lot of fun to watch. And I think that's awesome. Cool Cat saying, good morning, Rapid Free Crew. TGIF. Yeah, thank God it's Friday. And also the Raptors 905 are playing at 7:30. Paramount 5 Food Center, the second night of a back-to-back. Let's see if the Mad Ants can get their anger out on us for losing last night in the second situation. Let's see if the Raptors 905 can take the challenge of winning 2 in a row against the same team. There's so much talk about how hard that is because the teams want to even it out. In some ways, statistically, it evens out because 2 teams are kind of that way. They're going to have gumption. They're going to have adjustments. Maybe we're too lackadaisical because we feel good because we won. I don't know. Let's see the test with the Raptors 905 and Eric Curry, whether they're able to pull off a 2-game sweep in this mini series with the Indiana Mad Ants. I found out last night why they're the Indiana Mad Ants, because they were Fort Wayne Mad Ants forever until this year. They have moved. That team was in Fort Wayne for like 20 something years. I was talking to one of their fans in the chat last night during the game, and he was kind of explaining the history. That franchise may be one of the most storied G League franchises in the whole entire league. It has a real history. It's been around since it was in the D League. Like there's a version of this team that was around since like the 80s. So it's a really long-standing franchise, the Mad Ants. And them moving from Fort Wayne to Indiana is because they're getting a new arena built in Bloomington or something in Indiana. And they are actually playing in Indianapolis at this point. So temporarily until they get their new place built for next season. So yeah, that's why they're the Indiana Mad Ants now instead of the Fort Wayne Mad Ants, because they literally moved from Fort Wayne this season. And they're in Indianapolis at this point. They wanted to make the moniker the right place. And that's why that's a little fun fact for you guys. I found out that's what's up. Let's see what else is going on here. David saying, laugh out loud, Chris. That's too funny. And he drops the deuce. Chris saying, I won't go into the details here. Well, I mean, this isn't for kids. You guys can do whatever you want. Kenrick's here. Darko has to learn how to use personnel. Chris is an example of that. I know we've talked about this in the Facebook chat a bit, Kenrick and I. One of his biggest gripes with Darko is he feels like he's misusing Chris or not utilizing him when he could have really helped us in some games. I mean, I'm not going to totally disagree with Kenrick, but once again, I'll say this, Kenrick. The big part of how he's dealing with Chris is it's not necessarily about winning right now. And I know this is a big sticking point for you with this right now. You want to win. And if it's a logical thing that if Darko puts Chris in, we have a better chance to win. I totally get that equation in your head. And I agree. That's true. Chris is a winning player and he does winning kind of stuff on the court. But once again, I will say this. Sometimes it's a mismatch. It's a matchup thing. Like the Pelicans are not a good matchup to play Chris against. And then the other thing is, once again, he really does kind of know his game. And in discovery mode is going on with this team. And I know you were really upset the other day about how he put so many of the bench guys in, and that's when everyone fell flat in the Pelicans game. I get that. But we've got to understand what the goals are of our team right now. And the goals right now may not be exactly like, I think he knows his personnel. I don't think the problem is that he doesn't understand how to use his personnel. I think that he's very much purposefully doing certain things a certain way because of his things that are most important to get accomplished right now are to look at these young players and see if they're a part of our future. He can already tell what Chris is going to give us. And in some ways, the decisions with Chris, they can be made from work that's already been done this season. So, I mean, there's a lot going into it. And your sensibilities are right, Kenrick. In some ways, I completely agree with you, but I also have to look at the mode we're in currently as a team because of Scott's injury and now Jakob's injury and where we are in those standings. And this is the most important thing to do right now is not to play Chris, not to win. It's to play these young guys and look at them. And it's just what it is. It's not even how he needs to learn how to use his personnel. This is very much on purpose. This is not a mistake. And it's not anything that like we should be upset about, partly because we are just going to be shit for the rest of the year, no matter what. So it's just how it is. We're not trying to win right now. Totally. Yeah. Fiercey's laughing. Listen, I mean, this has been a thing that Kenrick and I have kind of butted heads on a little bit. I'm trying to be fair about it. And I totally get it. I love Chris and he's right. Chris could help us win. And Chris is a really good player. But once again, we know what he does and we don't have to discover him for the rest of the year. Let's see. Jill's here. Good morning to Jill. And Cool Cat's saying, I'm happy for Boucher that he got some minutes. I hope he gets to join a team where he can get bench minutes before his NBA career sunsets. Darko really don't have plans for him in his system. Yeah, I mean, I'm wondering about it. I don't know. Could he play in games where the matchup is conducive, like the Suns team, more often? Like I said, I described him as semi-rotation. It may be very much a matchup rotational decision. I don't like that he said he's a 5. That really doesn't make it easy for him to play him. If he really looks at Chris as a center, then Chris may be in trouble. Yeah. Now, if he likes the idea of having a center that's very different than the other centers, maybe he will like having that diversity as far as the types of centers he could have out there. So maybe there is value with still Chris. I don't know. It's really hard to gauge where Gary and Chris are with the franchise right now. It's really hard to gauge whether they are any kind of part of the plans for the future. I can't say for sure it's totally clear. I thought for sure Chris was on the outs, but because of the way he was played last night, Cool Cat, made me think that it may not be true, that he is still going to be invested by our team. And he is still. It's just that we're in a current period right now where Chris is a vet and he can handle not playing and getting DMPs for the benefit of the young players getting a look at. I think that could very be possible that Chris is going to be on our team next year. Seriously, I don't think it's very cut and dry or clear. As Bobby said, they're TBD. They're to be determined. Trent Jr. and Boucher. Let's see. Jillian saying, what do you mean, Seymour? Grady's nickname has been Richard for a while. I believe it may have been Chris who gave him the name. Not sure. No, it was the New Orleans Pelicans announcers that gave him that name. Antonio Daniels having fun with that name. The announcer, too much having fun with calling Dick in the call. The Pelicans announcer. So Antonio Daniels said to him, basically, it's like, you're so out of pocket with your calling of Grady's name that we're going to call him Richard now. And he started calling him Grady Richard. So it came from Antonio Daniels. He made up the Grady Richard nickname. It is weird. Fiercely saying alley-oop to Smooth in reference to the Suns being pretenders, not contenders. Yeah, that's a really astute and true full statement. So we're going to give Smooth a dunk, his first dunk in 2024. There you go. Let's see. Richard. Yeah, Richard. Grady Richard. Bruce birthed a calf. Laugh out loud. See, I don't know if that's the gear for that. What is the gear he's wearing last night? Like, he has different motifs. And sometimes he may have plumber motif. Sometimes he may have cattle rancher motif. Sometimes he may have home builder motif. I don't know. He looked like a home builder. He looked like somebody who had like a tool belt and he's like putting up houses for humanity, Habitat for Humanity. He's doing like good work for people, building houses for people out there. He may be out there with Jimmy Carter is what's going on right now. That's what he looked like to me. Like he's on Homes on Homes. Like he could be the guest star on Homes on Homes. Hi guys, welcome to Homes on Homes. I'm Mike Holmes, and my guest host today is Bruce Brown Jr. of the Toronto Raptors. Hi Bruce, how are you doing? Hi Mike, I like your show. I've been watching a long time. I get a lot of fashion tips from it. Oh, that's great, Bruce. All right, well, we're working on this joist right now. Could you get in here and kind of give me a hand? It could be like that. It's like Bruce Brown on Mike Holmes on Homes. That's how I feel like he's like a home builder. That's the way he looked at me last night. Like he's coming over to help you with your addition to your house. He's like, oh, I'll look it over and I'll give you a proposal in a couple days with the prices. Okay, all right, thanks, Bruce. We'll see you on Tuesday. Yeah, and then you never hear from him for like a month. I'm like, where's that contractor gone? Why didn't he come back and give us a proposal? All right, let's see. Stargate saying, good morning, Raptor Freak family. That's what I want to see. Effort. Play like you want to win the game. That's all I want. There you go. IQ wants to win. RJ wants to win. Kelly wants to win. That's right. These guys want to win. Seymour's saying, okay, what about the name Good Grades for a nickname? Good Grades? Like he's made good grades for 3, A+ for 3. I don't know. I don't know if that works right. Does it roll off the tongue? Does it kind of like, is that a good nickname? Have you ever heard anybody called Good Grades? I don't know. Maybe there's one kid at your school. Hey, Good Grades. Can I cheat off you? Good Grades. It's kind of good. I don't know. No, it ain't going to work. Guess Dick, it just fits. Dick, it just fits. Oh, pause, Seymour. Pause. Jeez, you just falling in the pause. That's right. Straight pause. Pause. All right, Jillian saying, laugh out loud. I enjoyed listening to Matt talk about Dick last night. It was fun. Oh my gosh. Jillian does these on purpose. Jillian is like an Archer episode. She's like that girl Pam on Archer. Wasn't there a girl on that show that always made really off-color jokes on Archer? You know what I'm talking about? That lady who's always making like saucy comments. Yeah, Jill's like that. She's like that character on Archer. Let's see. Stargate saying, think about it. If next season they choose to move away from Gary and put Grady in the starting lineup, that's a pretty big, tall lineup. Yeah, no, that's true. 6'8". You're going from 6'5" to 6'8". Yeah, that is very true, Stargate. That's very true. I think that, we just solidify with a couple more 4s and maybe a couple of long. And we need to get another long arm person back at some point. I think we traded too many away. Siakam, Anunoby, Achua. We need to get somebody long arm back, kind of their type back in the lineup too. We need at least one more, I think. Seymour is like looking at Jillian's comments and laughing. Country Conks here. Good to see JP. The dick pics. Yeah, let's see. Lex, it was so great seeing Chris play last night. I'm still unsure what Darko has against him. Before the season, I always saw Chris as a six man, and then all of a sudden he became a vet this year. It's just no rhyme or reason. You could become a vet in like your fourth year in the season. Chris is in his like eighth or ninth season. So it's just this kind of thing where, you know what, you show yourself. You've been around. I mean, he's been around since our championship year. This guy is the longest standing Raptor at this point, Chris Boucher. He's a known quantity. And it really is, they want to look at the other guys. That's really what it is. If you really want to know how Darko feels about Chris, JP, watched the press conference from last night after the game. He talks about Chris for like a couple of questions, and he's very, very explicit about how he sees him and why he has not been playing him. So we got the answers for why Darko, the issues with Chris not playing and what's going on. In some ways I see his side of things and I understand it, but I also see Kenrick's side of things. And I understand that. I just don't want y'all to turn on Darko just because Chris isn't playing. I don't think that that's worth it. I don't think that that's something that y'all should get mad at the coach for. I mean, he played him last night. He got a lot of time and he's very useful. And hopefully, it could be that Chris played so well last night that Darko plays him more regularly going forward. I think part of it is Chris was in the doghouse like he's been in the past with Nick Nurse. There were periods of time where Chris would be not playing and everybody would be like, why is Chris not playing? Josh Lewinberg was asking Nick Nurse this 2 years ago too. This is not new. Maybe there's an issue with Chris that we don't realize from practices. Maybe there's something where Chris doesn't do as hard in practice and the coaches can tell. And they're kind of like, you know what, we're not going to play you for a little bit until you get your ass in gear and come out there. There's a lot of that kind of stuff going on behind the scenes we don't know about. And if there's a proclivity of two different coaches, the last two Raptors coaches, to bench Chris for some reason, there may be the same reason. The two coaches have the same reason. So we got to think about that too. And this whole thing with Chris, this may be the way that they're trying to motivate him. We saw Chris come out and play at a very high level. That may be part of it right there, because Darko starved him and made him hungry. That's very much a technique that coaches use, is they starve players for minutes. They don't play them for a while because they want to get them a rise out of them, a reaction out of them, and to get out there and play at a super high level. And in some ways, I can argue that it was effective because we saw Chris playing at a very high level last night, a very, very high level. I love how he's in there fighting for rebounds like crazy. In some ways, that's what we need right now. We need rebounders, and that's why he needs to play. I agree with Kenrick. David's saying, Darko, hang on. I jumped. Why do you jump like that? Darko doesn't have an issue with Boucher. Why would he? He doesn't really. No, in some ways, he was praising him. He felt like he played at a very high level last night, but he was also tough on him. He said he wants him to show more discipline. That was the biggest critique I heard from him. He said he wants Chris to show more discipline. So maybe there's something Chris isn't doing that is not right with, Darko as far as what he wants from him. And once again, all this stuff is figured out from practice. If Chris isn't working the right way in practice in certain ways or doing certain things, well, that may be why he's in the doghouse with Darko. But he got out of it last night, and hopefully he stays out of it. Trevor's saying next season, this team is going to be such a badass when we are on top. But we will forgive all of you who doubted our front office and head coach because you don't know better. Trevor's so awesome. He's ready to forgive all y'all. What a guy. What a guy. Chris is saying, yeah, I like the old players, but this group is fun as well. I like the barbecue D idea going forward. The barbecue D. I still like barbecue yak better. You want to make it barbecue yak dick? How about that? OG, Fred, and Pascal haven't been all world or anything, and now Barnes has a clear runway for takeoff. Yeah, I don't know. You don't have to slight those guys. Those guys have got their own lives and things going forward at this point. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, Barnes, it's your world. It was already on the down low. It's just now it's very clearly your world, Raptors world. That's for sure. Jill saying, Lex, please do not compare Kelly to Ty Domi. Ew. Kelly is a highly capable vet who's handsome and kind, and yet he looks like a postmodern hippie. Well, I'm comparing them in the sense that they're blue-collar bruiser enforcer guys, and that's a fair comparison. I'm not comparing them on their looks. I'm just saying if the archetype is there, I named Josh Donaldson too from the baseball world. It's just this kind of gutsy, gritty kind of guy, lunch pail kind of guy that, Toronto and Detroit as sports cities, have fallen in love with this type of player. It maybe just be like the attitudes of the working class in Toronto, seeing somebody who works like them on the court. And Kelly Olynyk is that guy. We're not talking about how they look. I know Ty Domi's like that character that Chris Kattan used to play on Saturday Night Live that used to get up on the table and eat the fruit and throw it all over the place. Yeah, Mango, wasn't that his name? I know Ty Domi looks like that guy. No, and Kelly looks like a hippie kid coming from the Spirit Walk, hanging out with all the hippie kids out in the woods, smoking the reefers. Yeah, I know what Kelly looks like too. All right, let's see. Jillian said Bruce Brown is indeed a cute cowboy. See, Jill's all about the eye candy. Some people watch the Raptors for different reasons. I say that. Fiercely saying we don't see Levine and B, Trae Young on the sidelines cheering for their teams. Yes, that's true. That's true. I don't know where those guys are, and that's what you find investment in your team. Scotty cares about his team. He's rooting for his team. He's coaching his team on the sideline. I love it. I was hoping this would happen, but I didn't want to say for sure. And I was so pleased to see Scott at courtside last night. So pleased. I wasn't going to get on him if he wasn't there because seriously, he just had surgery on Sunday. And in some ways, we've got to give him time to rest. That's very important. And on the road, I don't necessarily want him flying around and doing all that kind of stuff. In some ways, he could have sat at Toronto and waited for them to come back from this road trip. I would have given him that pass, but he's there. He's there on the road with them in Phoenix. Good stuff. Good stuff. Jill says, I love Nutty Scotty. Nutty Scotty? Phrasing, Jill. Phrasing. Stargate saying, fiercely, I think Trae has been on the Hawks bench. He has been there. He's so small, you wouldn't see him. Maybe he's wearing a contractor's outfit, and you can't tell he's there because he looks like the guy who's going to fix the rim. Yeah, maybe that's why. Maybe he's sitting at the end of the bench, and he just looks like a Talib boy or something like that. I don't know. Maybe he blends in because he's so little. He doesn't look like a basketball player. That may be. Stargate saying, if Stuart Scott, oh man, rest in peace, and Rich Eisen were still doing Sports Center, they would be saying dick stroking on Grady's 3-point highlights. Laugh out loud. Remember, horny excited with Jeff Hornacek's highlights? Man, that's a throwback, Stargate. I'm going to give you a 3-pointer for it. You're talking about 3-pointer on there. I'm going to give you a 3-pointer because you just brought up Stuart Scott and Rich Eisen. Wow, that's a throwback. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how ESPN's dealing with Grady. I don't watch them. I'll bet you there are a lot of people out there making all kinds of out-of-pocket dick jokes with Grady all over the place. All over the place. Wherever he's getting covered, there's probably some people that are crossing or walking that line. Maybe crossing a little bit. Yeah, I remember the horny call about Jeff Hornacek. I remember that. I remember that. Chris is saying Kansas nickname for Grady could be Grady is shooting so well. He's got the other team in a dick cyclone. What the No, that's not a nickname. That's a phrase that sounds like. You want to call him Dick Cyclone? No. No. Dick Cyclone. What? Cyclone Dick? What? No. What is this? What is this, Chris? No. Maybe we could do something with the Wizard of Oz, the Ruby Slippers, Toto. Could we call him Toto? It'd take a lot to drag me away from you. There's nothing but a I cannot do. I passed the race down in Africa. I don't know. Maybe you call him Dorothy. Grady Dorothy Dick. Most saying, good morning, Raptor Freak family. Great battle. Stars of the game in a loss. IQ, Chris, and Gary. Yeah, she likes IQ, Chris, and Gary. Those are good ones. I was going to do 3. But I was like, man, I want to get 4 of them because I wanted to get those 3. I wanted to recognize Chris. And I wanted to recognize RJ also. I had to do Gary and IQ for sure. And I was like, well, I really want to recognize Chris. But I got to kind of recognize RJ also. So I went to 5 just because of that. And I put Kelly in too. Smooth saying, is there a possibility the Raptors end up keeping Bruce Brown, pick up his option? That free agent list isn't appealing. Yeah, that is. It's our option, team option. It's $22 million for next year. In some ways, him not playing right now is telling to me, like he may be doing a little bit of that kind of like, if he really wanted to audition for us, maybe he should be out there. I don't know how hurt he is. In some ways, I worry about this time of year and what mode we're in. Sometimes these guys may be doing DMPs, and it's like kind of like, ugh. In some ways, him not being on the court tells me a lot. And if I was this team, I would not pick up his team option. I know you're saying that the free agency market is not that good, but I don't think that's true. I think that Masai is seeing a trend or something with the free agency in the summertime, like Dame Lillard and Kevin Durant in the past 2 summers. He's waiting for that situation. He wants to see which big name is disgruntled and forcing themselves off a team. And that's where he's going to pounce with our money and the cap space. If they don't take the option with Bruce, that's 22 million more to spend on that person. So I think it's unless they really do like what Bruce has done, I don't think they're going to take the team option on him. I wouldn't. I don't recommend it. I don't myself. But if they do it, they do it. I think he needs to get out there and prove more and play more and integrate him more. And then maybe I'll feel better about it possibly happening. But right now I'm saying, no, don't pick up the team option on Bruce. That's 22 million to spend on somebody else, is what I would say right now. And that's what Masai's saying. He wants to go for the person who's disgruntled. Whoever's a problem and they're saying, I don't want to be on this team anymore, I want to get out of here. He wants to capitalize on that, just like he did with Kawhi. Let's see. Most saying Chris Boucher staying positive. He was smiling. In some ways, it's like, look, we can read into this situation and feel feelings for him that just aren't really there. You guys may be surprised just actually how like things are going smooth with Chris. I just worry about, like I said, the relationship with some of the new Raptors doesn't look as like cut and dry. Like you can tell when they do the intros for the game at the starting lineup. Like when they come out and they do the daps, it used to be like Kyle would do this low shit, and like Scott has his things he does when he's coming out, and Pascal and Chris would do the T. You know, he has none of that stuff with these guys. In fact, when they come through, they bump him. They just run into him and bump off. He doesn't dap them or anything. And I'm like wondering why they're doing it that way. Maybe that is their ritual, is just bump like bumper cars, arms like this and bump. And that's what they're doing. In some ways, that's not the most like welcoming and like connected kind of like dapping, is to just run into each other and bounce off each other. He's doing that with Emmanuel and RJ and Kelly. And maybe I'm reading too much into it, but I want to think that Chris Boucher is cool with our Team Canada guys and our newer players like Emmanuel Quickly. That may be part of the problem with playing Chris right now, is that maybe he's not gelling with them personality wise. And that's why he's not getting into the rotation sometimes. I don't know. I just want Chris to have good things for him. If it is on another team next year, so be it. I'd love to have him on the Raptors still. And I just want to see more connection between him and the new Raptors. It could be very hard for him, being the last guy left over. They keep showing the meme of him on Fresh Prince, where Will Smith's standing in the empty room and like, where'd everybody go? He's the last guy left from the Raptors of old. And in some ways, having all these new guys come in. The other thing is these guys are coming in at a higher place in the hierarchy. In some ways, you're somebody who's been there longer and longevity. You may have a little bit of like resentment towards people that come in and they're like top dogs and they're running the team all of a sudden, even though they just showed up and you've been here for 5 years. So, I mean, I could read into all the possibilities of psychology and what may be happening with Chris and why things are exactly the way they are. I may be completely wrong. I'm speculating. It's just me throwing darts and saying this could be this could be this. And from my powers of observation and watching how he's interacting with IQ, RJ, and Kelly, he's not really that with them. He's not. And it could be there's history between Kelly and RJ and Chris from Team Canada and around Canada kind of basketball stuff. And we may not know about it. You know, I don't know. I don't know what it is exactly. I can only speculate. But I think Chris is being the ultimate pro, and that's the thing that matters. And he got his number called last night, and he came out there and he kicked butt. And that's what matters right there. Fiercely saying, thanks for correcting me, Stargate. I just watched the highlights and don't always see the player's sideline. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know where those guys are or if they're at the courts. Some of them will not show up. Some of them will not. Cowboy saying, good morning, Lex and Rat Freaks. Good morning to DA Services. 647-833-6844. If you need help around your house, Bradley will come over. TGIF, he can help you with your weekend project. That's right. Fiercey's got me at 11:17. And Chris is saying, sorry, Lex, Kansas is the Cyclone state. So Grady Cyclone Dick is his nickname, Cyclone. Let me spin this one around in my head for a little while. By popular demand, fans want to unleash a dick cyclone on the opposition. Sorry, Lex. I don't know. You try and get that one over, Chris. Plant the seeds in social media places where Raptors fans hang out and see how that goes over. Dick cyclone. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know about that. I don't know about that. Fiercely saying, did you do the IG check? Scotty put IQ's record on blast. Yeah, I did. I did do that a little while ago. And that was something that I noted that, yeah, Gary Trent Sr. at the game last night, sitting in the crowd, probably really proud of Gary Trent Jr.'s game last night. Yeah, he played quite nice, quite nice. Yeah, and Alvin talking about his old teammate on the broadcast. Let's see. Mo's saying celebrate us women today, guys. That's right. Women Empowerment Day. The 905 game is the women's empowerment game with the women's broadcasting crew and the women's officials. And who knows? Maybe there'll be other women in other positions around the game tonight. Maybe they could have like somebody come over and coach the game instead of Eric Curry. Like, could we get Mary from the Raptors, the assistant coach, Mary Andrade, to come down just for tonight? And well, she's in Phoenix. We're now going to Portland because she's with the main squad. But that would have been nice. We could have seen Andrade come in and coach the 905 today in this game and get more women participation in all aspects. Have her coach the 905 today on this game. I don't know. Maybe she should be the coach of the 905 next time. That'd be awesome. In some ways, I wouldn't be upset about that. Some people would be like, whoa, wait a second, Lex. I mean, no. Walk the walk, talk the talk. We get the next 2-year contract of the 905 coaching. If she's a good coach, let her coach the 905. That'd be interesting. It is going to be interesting to speculate who will coach the 905 next season after Eric Curry's gone, hopefully. Jeez. Yeah, Fiercely saying it's okay if Bruce Brown hops on his horse and rides in the sunset next season. Hasn't done enough to win me over. I think in some ways on the down low, his style choices are clashing with the vibes of our city. Our city is like the most non-rural city. It's not like Toronto is like where those kind of work clothes are getting worn unless you come in to work on the plumbing. That's what I'm saying. In some ways, it's like, is he telling us that, like, yeah, I don't belong here because this is how I dress? Because in some ways, I get that feeling from him. It's like he needs to be in Denver, where it's like Rocky Mountains and pickup trucks and, your butt crack hanging out as you hang underneath a sink. That in some ways, the blue collar style of his clothes and not the play. I'm saying the play is good too. He does have blue collar play. Maybe like, is this an overt statement as saying like, you know what, don't fit in Toronto, the future city with the tower. I look like I should be out on the range with home on the range. And, I don't know. Maybe that is a fashion statement that is underlying, I don't know. Maybe he's good for it. Maybe it's a good thing that you got such a rural kind of country kind of guy in such a city team. This is a very city team. So, yeah, she's okay with it. He hops on the horse and he goes off in the sunset. I am too. But either way, I'm going to trust in Messiah and Bobby. If they decide they want to keep him and the $22 million is worth having Bruce Brown on the team, well, I'll try and sell it to y'all. Why? At that point, why? It makes sense. But at this point, I'll be like, yeah, I'm not totally keen on that. Cowboys saying, big up yourself, all women. There you go. Big up to the women in your life and everywhere. Let's support, empower, and love them. That's what we do. I'm so lucky and blessed to have Adriana come to visit me later. So I will empower her with my love, and we'll watch the 905 women empowerment game tonight together. It'll be nice. Stargate saying, I think you're right, Lex. I believe Bobby and Messiah are waiting to see which players are going to want out after being bounced early in the playoffs again. Then they will pounce. Yeah. There's a lot of dysfunction that ripples out from the playoffs and failure. We've seen really knee-jerk reactions to firing coaches like Budenholzer and things like that. It sounds like Giannis, if they don't have a very successful postseason, he could be very disgruntled. Very, very disgruntled. So those kind of situations, whether it's Enacomto or somebody else, they may develop and happen with the results of the playoffs. I think that this is very true. Very, very true. And they will pounce because partly they want to have the ability to be flexible to really get in there and make the best offer and grab things from people. Wayne saying Chris Boucher has no issues. And even if he does, it's none of our business. Both sides of the organization are professionals. As Lex often says, when they comment, we will opine. Until then, shh. Yeah. I love that Darko cleared the air a bit last night because in some ways, he gave us statements that we can utilize to explain the inexplicable kind of DMPs he was getting. In some ways, the press was getting really mad. Some of them were like coming at him. And that's part of the reason why he answered. Grange, when he asked these questions, was doing a good job. I'll actually give some credit to Michael Grange for asking questions that everybody's been wanting to know and putting it to Darko and getting the answers. So, see, I can't just only hate Grange. And sometimes when he does his job correctly, like he did last night, I'll give him a little bit of respect, but not for long. It's just for today. Now, I won't be fooled to just like you because you do fucked up shit all the time anyway. But you did a good thing last night, Grange, when you cleared the air and got Darko a chance to explain the issues and the things that are going on with Chris. That was a really good thing in some ways. I was happy about those questions because I felt like they were helpful. They were very helpful. Let's see. Seymour's got MSJ on pause. That's a reach. Yeah, Dick Cyclone. That's a reach. Like in some ways, what is this? Is this Ric Flair's move on the plane ride from hell? The helicopter? Yeah. What is this Dick Cyclone you're talking about? Yeah, it's not a good thing. Fiercey saying, "Good morning, cowboy. Bye, fam. Let's enjoy the journey." Yeah, have a good one, Fiercey. And maybe I'll see some of y'all in the chat later on for the 905 game. I'll be in there in the YouTube chat, talking to the other fans and the fans of our team and just having a fun time in there. So if you want to see me there, I'll be there. Cowboy saying, "Let's fucking go, Raptors, Masai." That's right. Dap to you, Cowboy. That's right. And Stargate saying, "Pay close attention who gets ousted early in the playoffs this year and wants out of their situation." Milwaukee. Now, we talked about this. I don't think that Giannis is actually a piece that we will go after at this point because in some ways he clouds the room at the top of the team with Scotty. If we have Scotty, we don't need Giannis. In some ways, he's not the level of player that we want at this point. Maybe he's just a little bit slightly less of a superstar than like a franchise player or a top player. Maybe like the level of IQ and Emmanuel, IQ and RJ. That's that level of player. We don't want somebody who's like kind of at the top with Scotty, where it's kind of like debatable. In some ways, that won't work. In some ways, Giannis and Scotty are too similar, and there's too much in the same spot in the franchise. So I don't think it's going to be straight up Giannis. I don't think speculating if Giannis gets upset that Masai is going to try and get him now this summer is smart because Scotty's an investment, and that'll cloud the situation. It'll make it kind of awkward and not right. So it's got to be somebody secondary. It's got to be like not a top level star like LeBron, Giannis, or Scotty. It's got to be a secondary kind of guy, a guy that maybe slots in the same level with IQ and RJ. I just believe that it's got to be like that. So let's see. Fiercely saying, "Lex, I got an email to get pre-sale tickets for WNBA game in Edmonton in May." Yeah, the Seattle Storm are playing the LA Sparks. The second Canada game announced, this time in the Edmonton market. This is fantastic. Now, I don't think this is realistically to test the market for them to have an WNBA team. It's just to expose another part of Canada to WNBA action. I don't think it's viable that they would put a WNBA team in a city that doesn't even have an NBA team. So this is really just to come out there and test the market and give them a chance to see it. It's very much like when the Raptors play some of their preseason games out west in places like Edmonton or Winnipeg or Vancouver. So it's great for the game. It's fantastic for the WNBA. And in some ways, it's a building block for the group that Teresa Resch is starting to test the TV rights and TV market out west for a team that we will get here. I'm saying we're going to get it because I really do believe we will. That if we can make it work outside of Rogers' interference and bullshit with MLSE, it will happen. The WNBA wants to be here badly. And if we want that team and Teresa and Larry Tannenbaum are going to do it, we're going to get it. We're going to get it. And I will predict right now, we're going to have a WNBA team next summer. That's soon, y'all. So I think that we're going to get our shit together and we're going to get it done quickly. So, yeah, they're testing Edmonton for a WNBA market and maybe for the potential of how much these people will watch a team that's centered out of Toronto, just like they do the Raptors. So we'll have to see. We'll have to see. I'm very excited about that news. And it's fantastic they're doing another Canada game this summer. Yeah, and it's good. It's good that they're doing it out there. Yeah. Jill's saying, "Okay, Lex, you view the term working class as a compliment. I understand." Yeah, of course I do. I mean, they're the blood and tears and sweat of this whole society. The people that do the working class stuff, oh yeah, respect to them. They're underpaid and they work the hardest, and they are the people that are absolutely essential for the world to work. The people that are white collar and sitting at home, or sitting in the office and just look at pay printouts, and they don't actually do any work. Some of them are just fucking making money and they don't actually contribute in any kind of way. Yeah, fuck them. Fuck them. Yeah, I'm a blue collar guy for sure. I could have been a white collar guy. I could have gone into that world, but I rejected it because I'd rather be with the common people, the working class. And that's where I've gone in my life, partly because of that kind of sentimentality. But I know that Toronto is that kind of way. They will root for blue collar workman like kind of players on the court. Kelly Olynyk is the epitome of that at this point. Cowboys saying, have a great day, fiercely. Alley-oop to the sheriff. All right, you want me to give an alley-oop to Seymour? Your guy out west, Mountain Standard Time, Mr. City Slicker, Mr. I got a New York Mets hat on because I'm making a deep reference to a Billy Crystal movie. Yeah, we can do that. We can do that. We can do that for sure. That's my guy, Sheriff Seymour. That's right. That's right. Jill saying, hi, Cowboy. Hi. Fiercely saying, yes, Stargate. Giannis, he recently said it's Dame's team. That was a weird, considering we all know Milwaukee is his team, and also Thanos is by default. There's an article out on Dame Lillard that proves something that I was right about again. I speculate. Sometimes I'm off base and totally wrong, and I will apologize and always admit when I speculate things that are wrong. But I was absolutely right when I said what I said last summer after Dame Lillard went to Milwaukee, that he's depressed, that he's sad. He came out and said he's very, very lonely and sad recently because of what I said. I told you exactly this was going to happen this season, that he's away from his family. He's separated from his wife, and his family and his kids and all of his support system are back in Portland. And now he's in Milwaukee by himself. And he said in this thing, he said, I'm a grown man. I can handle this, but I'm going to tell you, this is hard. This is hard. I don't have a life outside of basketball. I like watching boxing. I like watching, practicing and doing the NBA life, but it was my family that filled the time otherwise. And I miss being able to go with friends and family out to things after the game because I don't have that here in Milwaukee. So he is severely depressed because his social support network has been cut off. It's in Portland. And that's a cautionary tale for franchise players that build a life in some place like, Siakam here. He's not going to replicate what he had in Toronto in Indianapolis. We know that. And in some ways, this is what Dame Lillard's going through, is depression, because he's left his life and his family and his social network behind in Portland. And Milwaukee just doesn't cut it. It's not the same. He's very alone. And it's shown in the way his demeanor and how he's feeling in the games. And you see it in his face, how upset and sad he is. It's so crazy, messing with things. Green grass on the other side is not always greener. It's not always greener. That is very telling that Giannis said it's Dame's team now. That is very telling. That is, yeah. Seymour is getting a Mug Brother. That's right, Mug Brothers. And Cowboy is saying, let's see, we're going to wrap it up soon. Miss Moody, Raptors all day, every day. Everyone slam dunk the like button. I like that. Stargate saying, nah, it won't be Giannis. In my opinion, I say make a play for DeMar, but that's me. Laugh out loud. That would be amazing. That would be amazing. I don't know. Can we afford DeMar? That's the whole thing. Would he do like a prorated scale? I don't know. I think that they said the only way they would come back to Toronto is if both of them came back. I think they both said that. And I think DeMar would only play for us again if Kyle was here. So I don't know if it would work. I think Kyle would say the same thing. I only want to come back to Toronto if DeMar is going to be there again with me. So I don't know if this will work. I love it. I love the idea. And if we could get DeRozan back on the Raptors somehow, some way for the right price, and it fits with everything, and he's our new shooting guard, in some ways he kind of crosses over with RJ too much. As much as Giannis would step on Scotty's toes, I think that if we got DeRozan, he might step on Barrett's toes as far as like what they do and what their style of game is. They may be too similar. That may be the problem with getting DeMar, is we need somebody who's absolutely totally different. In some ways, what we need is a swing, or a shooting guard that is absolutely a lights out shooter. And it could be Grady, like we were saying earlier, or it could be somebody from somewhere else. Like I was really big on Buddy Hield coming to us. instead of going to the Sixers. Like I felt like Buddy Hield might have been the right kind of player that would fit in the lineup with Emmanuel, RJ, Scotty, and Jakob. Because in some ways, that's what we're looking at. We're looking at the two. We're slotted with 1, 3, 4, and 5 already. We got to figure out who's going to be the new guard. Is it going to just continue to be Gary? We reinvest in him. Is it going to be Grady getting graduated up and put in the starting lineup? Or is it going to be a completely new shooting guard this summer that we get in free agency that's established like a Buddy Hield? I think that's the kind of player that kind of fits with what we're talking about right now is a Buddy Hield. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. Let's see. Jill saying Bruce was better last night, Fiercey. What do you mean, Bruce? You mean with his clothing? Bruce was better with his clothing last night. What? I mean, he looked like he worked there. And sometimes he comes out there. I can tell he's an NBA player. But last night when he came into the game, I was like, I wasn't sure what he was coming to do. Was he adjusting the height of the rim? I don't know what he came to the game to do. What he's wearing. He was multi-purposeful. Maybe he shows up. Maybe he's like a superhero. He's like Mr. Handyman on the side. He's like, oh, there's a problem here with this wheel on this shopping cart. Oh, let me get that. I'm here with my wrench. And he pulls it out of his work belt, and he's just like in there, like fixing a shopping cart that has a wobbly wheel at the grocery store all of a sudden. I don't know. Maybe he's like bicycle repairman from Monty Python. You ever remember that old sketch? It's like a world of Supermans, and the superhero is bicycle repairman. Because there's a messed up bicycle on the side of the road, and he's just an ordinary guy, and he shows up and he fixes the bike. And all the Supermen are so happy. He's, oh, bicycle repairman. What would we do without you? You know, what is that? Maybe Bruce Brown's bicycle repairman. Yeah, maybe that's what it is. Yeah. Let's see. Fiercely saying, I still hate Grange just because of the condescending he uses when asking questions. I don't know. Maybe he heard me cussing him out yesterday because he was being very polite. At the end of it, he said thank you to Darko. It's like I do not hear those guys say thank you to the interviewers very often. At the end, he said thank you. I was like, oh, he's like kissing his ass. He's being real nice. He didn't ask any negative questions. So that's why I gave him some points for last night. So Grange, you did good last night. I'm okay with you last night. You were polite and you asked non-controversial questions that actually illuminated the situation and helped answer some of the questions of Raptors Nation as far as Chris Boucher's status. So good job, Michael. See, I'm not going to totally come at you in negative ways if you do your job in a good way. And that's what I'm saying. I'm watching you. I'm watching you just like Justin Van Dyne and Sean Wright and Evan Scott. I'm watching you too, my guy. That's right. Let's see. Fiercey saying, yes, Jillian, at least he wasn't a minus. Yeah, Bruce, he was just on the court, like sitting there. He was talking to Scotty. I wonder what him and Scotty are talking about. He's talking about like maybe he's talking about divots and joists and hoists and arches and carpentry. He's like, yeah, Scotty, you should see the plane I got at home now, my new rickshaw or something. I don't know, what is he talking about? His bandsaw. He's talking about the bandsaw he just purchased or something with Scott. Scott's like, okay, Bruce, I'm trying to watch the game. He's like, no, I want to tell you about this project I got in my workshop going on right now. He's like, Bruce, I'm trying to watch the Raptors. Come on now, you're all in your work mode here. Come on now. I don't know what he's saying to Scotty on the bench in his workman clothes. I don't know. Maybe I'm riffing on Bruce too much. It's just too easy. I've never seen an NBA player show up with that style before. In some ways, I really do need to talk to Ibaka and Anunoby and Trent, the style icons of the Raptors, and get their opinions on this. Seriously, we need these opinions. Where's the Holt Renfrew, what would you wear segment with Bruce Brown? Is he going to do it at the Holt Renfrew? Or is he going to go down to the workman boot store? Yeah, is he going to go down there and do it? Like, the little clips where Grady picks out his little outfits at the beginning of the season. Like, what are they going to do this with Bruce Brown? And what will that look like? Will he do different occupations? Spin the wheel. Oh, I got winter and garbage man. Okay, I'll get the garbage man clothes. No, I don't know. Maybe I'm riffing on this too much. Let's see. Fiercely saying, if we get Giannis, the press will feast on the whose team is it conversation. Yeah, it just doesn't make sense. It's too blocked up. They're the same player in some ways. Scotty's a better shooter than him. In some ways, they're a very similar player, but Scotty's a better shooter. So I don't know. I don't think it works. Jill saying, I like Kelly, Bruce, no matter the class. They're good players. Hope they last. Yeah, I'm not talking about class like caste system, India, I'm not talking about looking down on people. I'm just talking about blue collar kind of work ethic. I don't even have to use the word class in it. I'm talking about blue collar work ethic. Ethic. I'm talking about work ethic. That's what I'm talking about. Whether it's Bruce's close or Kelly's play, I'm talking about work ethic today and battling against the Suns and only losing by 7 in a crazy game with Kevin Durant and Grayson Allen going crazy early in the game. That's right. 100% Raptor freaks for life. You go, Seymour Pape. That's right, Sheriff. That's right. Jill saying, I don't believe that Giannis will ever come back here. When was he here in the first place? We need another Yaka Baroji. What? We got Yaka. We're good. Stargate saying, yeah, you were right about Dame, Lex. And I think you may be right about Clay as well. I see this shit. I can read people's emotions. I can read their minds sometimes. I feel auras. I can look at people and understand how they feel. I can tell when somebody's very upset and not very happy in their life. I can tell that. And in some ways, a lot of people have this gift. It's not that I'm special. It's just some people are better at reading people, body language, the way they hold their face, the way they say things. This is all tells. This is all tells. Now, the only reason why I thought that about Clay is because when he was celebrating that Warriors championship that last time, that way he was celebrating was not happy drinking. It was not happy drinking. He was sad drinking. And why the fuck would you sad drink during a championship parade with the Warriors? Why? And the other thing was he was losing everything. It's like that other thing. That's a sign of alcoholism in some ways. It's like if you can't keep your possessions because you're getting so shitty drunk and you're just leaving them in different places. That was part of what too, because he kept talking about, oh, I lost my hat. Oh, I lost this. And he's like laughing about it and joking about it because he's so 2 sheets to win. Either way, I don't want to speculate on that too much. If you do have a problem, Clay, get help. If you don't, I apologize for being off base and talking shit that I don't know what I'm fucking talking about. But if you, as somebody who's an alcoholic myself, you need that help, Clay, go get it. Go get it. It could be part of the reason why things are going wrong for him in some ways. Seymour saying fashion tips from Holmes on Holmes. I'm dead. Yeah, that was good, eh? You like that? I brought Mike Holmes into the stream today. That's amazing. I've done some pretty good impressions recently. I felt like I did Mike Holmes pretty good. I did Serge pretty good today, too. I'm going to rewatch my stream. You know what happens? I watch my streams afterwards, and I laugh at myself. Like, I realize, like, if I'm saying something that I said on my stream and I make myself laugh, I must be making other people laugh. Is what I'm saying. I'm like, it's crazy. Like, there'll be moments where I'm watching myself and I forgot I said something during the stream because they're so long. And I'll be laughing like, holy crap, did you really just say that, Lex, on the stream? When did you do that? Or I'll rewatch like my songs or something like that. And I'll be like, you're such a fool. But it's hilarious. So hilarious. All right. But I do. I rewatch them all. I try to. Some of the really longer ones that are like, I can't because I have too much to do. But yeah, I'll put them on the back. Cowboys saying 2-finger salute to Grange. All right, there you go, Grange. There you go. Even though you did a good job last night. Yeah, Bruce wasn't a minus. He'll be even better next game. Yeah, what are you guys talking about, Bruce? He didn't even play. What are you talking about, Bruce being a plus or a minus for the game last night? Are you talking about his clothes? Cowboys saying alley up to Seymour. We already did that. Y'all kill me. I swear. Let's see. W stream Lex. Keep at it always. Go Raptors for life. Wayne saying, what's with DJ? Heard he's injured. Yeah. He actually sprained his ankle and he was on crutches last night. Yeah. DJ Carton was a late scratch yesterday because he twisted his ankle in practice yesterday morning in Phoenix. And that is why he did not play last night. He was literally on crutches and tied up with his ankle. So he was actually pretty hurt. Yeah. Thanks for bringing that up, Wayne. I wasn't going to mention, I totally forgot about the DJ injury. Yeah. Cowboy saying alley-oop to you, Lex. Later, family. Let's go Raptors. Thank you, Cowboy. I appreciate it. I will take that alley-oop. My man. And I will dunk it with flair and make it look real good, like emoji throwdown. I will do emoji throwdown just in honor of you. I took it behind my head, brought it around here, and come back with the left. That's right. That's what I did. Yeah. Jill saying blue collar refers worth ethic. I understand you a bit better now. Yeah. You didn't know that. Hey, listen, we're going to educate on everything here, whether it's whatever it is. The term blue collar, it denotes the color of the shirt, Jill. That often people that worked in service or in like hard jobs, they were wearing blue shirts, and the people in the offices were wearing white shirts. So that's the difference between blue collar and white collar. White collar is office, people that don't get their hands dirty. People that are fuckers, they're ruining the world right now. And the blue collar are the people that actually make this world work and make this world still happen. The blue collar people. That's the distinction right there. Yeah. See you, cowboy. See ya, cowboy. That's right. All right, let me do a wrap up real quick and we'll get the hell out of here. We've got a game tonight, 7:30, Paramount Fine Food Center, the second night of a back-to-back with the Indiana Mad Ants. Our crew chief is Danica Mosier. Chelsea Painter and Sarah Williams are the referees for the women's empowerment game happening at 9:05 tonight. So tune in and watch it. It's going to be fantastic. I'm sure it's going to be a really good game because the game last night was very competitive and a lot of fun, lots of dunks. And I'm sure the Mad Ants want to get some get back against us. So it should be a very contested game and very worth watching. The Raptors did lose to the Suns last night by 7 points. My 5 stars of the game for this game were Gary Trent Jr., Emmanuel Quickley, Chris Boucher, RJ Barrett, and Kelly Olynyk. The Raptors really got beat bad on the boards. They got out-rebounded pretty bad, 49-36. They shot way better than us. We did beat them at threes, like Trevor said earlier, which was nice. We did not get as many free throw attempts as them, which was annoying. We did beat them on assists, though. So there were a couple of things we did well. We were way better on turnovers, too. Even though that was one of the things I liked about the team last night is that they were playing really good basketball, as evidenced by the lack of turnovers that the Raptors were causing. They only had, at the end of the game, 9 turnovers. That's really good, considering the Suns had 16. So those are the kind of things that are moral victories, small victories. Some people say, oh, we don't want those. We just want the victory. But, hey, they're playing clean basketball. They're competing with a high-level team. That's pretty good. My stars of the game for the Raptors 905 win over the Mad Ants last night, Kobe Simmons, Omari Moore, Jemias Ramsey, Justice Winslow, and McCurr. Yeah, all right. I think that's it. If you have a Raptors Freak fantasy basketball team, make sure you keep up with it. The competition is fast and furious there in that league. You really need to be on top of it if you want to do well there. Yeah, Miss Moody. All right, y'all. I appreciate y'all so much. Please like, comment, subscribe, and share. And I'll be back tomorrow with a preview of the Portland Trailblazers game with the Raptors. That's a game I think we can win. Honestly, you think about we play like we did last night, and we are a little bit better. Portland's worse. We should be able to hopefully beat them. So we'll see if we can get the win against Delano Banton and the Portland Trailblazers tomorrow night. I'll have the preview tomorrow and the reaction to the game tonight with the Indiana Mad Ants and the 905. All right. I appreciate everybody. TGIF, get out there and Raptorize your day. Have a great day. Be good to yourself. Be good to the people around you. And be good to the earth, the planet, the trees, the insects, the birds, the animals, the living things in this world. Let's respect life. Yeah, there's too many people out there not respecting life in honor of money. And fuck those people. I choose life every time. Fuck that shit. Don't sell your soul for the almighty dollar. Yeah, let's go. We all work hard, man. Cheers. Yeah. No, I don't want to insult you if you're a white collar worker, Jillian Moody. I'm just talking about, people know what I'm talking about when I say this. The people that drive the trucks, the people that do the grunt work, the hard physical work. That's who I'm talking about. The people that use their heads, those sometimes are white collar workers. So, yeah. Stargate saying in closing, thanks to Denver for exposing Boston last night's statement game. Yeah, I love that. Get real far in the playoffs. Get the finals. Play the Nuggets. Get your ass beat. Get your ass beat, Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown in the finals. Have a dream season. Have a beautiful, beautiful time. And then get exposed right at the very last minute, Joe Mazzulla, and look like fools and fail at the very highest point like you've done twice already in the finals. Do it again this year. I enjoy that show. I enjoy seeing y'all ascend and get feeling so good and then get crushed so miserably bad by somebody like Jimmy Butler. Yeah, I'm here for it. I am here for it. Let's expose these turkeys. Let's expose them, Nicola. That's right. Seymour saying, I'm sitting on my forklift, kick back, listening and reading comments. Happy Friday. There you go. Lazy boy. See? Blue collar laziness. What is this? Get out there and get to work. Seymour Pape, your supervisor. Nah, do your thing, City Slicker. It's all good. I ain't going to call the supervisor and tell on you. No, I'm not. All right, y'all. I appreciate everybody. I'll see y'all tomorrow. Let's go, Raptors. Raptors forever. RFF forever, baby. Let's go. Jill saying, my gran was a cleaning lady, but dad was a federal advisor. We all work hard. That's not all true. Jill, you can't say everybody works hard. Jeff Bezos, he may have worked hard at some point, but he's not working hard right now. I'm telling you, there's people that are making tons of money that don't work fucking doing jack shit. They don't do jack shit. They're just leeches. Landlords, that's a good example. Yeah, those are leeches. Those guys work hard. Some of them do good work on their properties. A lot of them don't. They just lay back and collect the checks. So yeah, we can't just say everybody works hard, Jill. That's not true. There's a lot of people out there that are not working hard and they're making big salaries. Some of them are CEOs of very big companies. Yeah, like the Loblaws people. Those people, some of them are not working hard, trust me, and they're collecting big checks. Yeah, these are the people that we should hate. The people that we should be like, fuck you, you fucks, you fucking piece of shits. Yeah, there you go. Women Empowerment Day. There you go. All right, guys. Y'all have a good day. A little bit of riffing at the end there. Yeah, fun stuff. I'll see y'all tomorrow. Let's go, Raptors. Let's go, Raptors. 9-0.